Hey, Faye. Hey, Faye is over there on the D Live. We are still banished from YouTube. In fact, I think we're double banished. This is not looking good for the YouTube. It's very unfortunate. We might just end up making the YouTube just like an advertisement place to point people to really where to watch just the show, which right now is D Live and Rumble and Odyssey, and I'm not actually even sure if Odyssey is working. We are falling apart. Okay, I'm told that Odyssey is working. So yeah, go to Canary Cried Out Party, find a place to watch. If you're out there, if you're in the Discord, if you're in the Canary Cried Out community, if you're on the Facebook, if you're anywhere, will you just let people know that we're doing the show right now and it's not on YouTube? I have not sent out the whatever it's called, text message. I'm doing the text message right now. I forgot to put no YouTube on the email, and I forgot to put it on the social media, but I can put it in the YouTube. In the text message. Here I go. No YouTube today! Exclamation point. And that's it. That's all I have space for. Our text message system can get extraordinarily expensive very quickly if we do not use our characters wisely and efficiently. So that's all you get. Hopefully everybody will figure it out. Text message going out now. That's nice. Okay. Hope everybody enjoys that. I'm not seeing a whole lot of chatter in the chat. I wonder. I'm going to go over to the Rumble, see if anybody's over there. That's the one thing, a little bit of an issue. Rumble is so good at not erasing us from history. However, they do not have, they're not very interoperable with a lot of our other things. That's why Rumble chat is not able to get on the screen. We could if we could. We would if we could there, Rumble. We miss you very much. What do we got to do to get featured on the Rumble front page? That's what we got to figure out. If anybody works at Rumble, let us know. I'm going to pull it up now. I'm going to go say hi to everybody in Rumble. Then we're going to get this show on the road. Uh-oh, it's not even showing up yet on the Rumble. Yes, it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, we got Morph. We got Kill Sport. We got Deb Angel. Yeah. And ECM Sal. Hi, everybody. One more again. If you're here, if you made it to the show, just do a little tweet, do a little post, do a little something to your network, whatever that network that is. Put it in the church bulletin and get people here. It's the best way for people to fully enjoy the madness that is a live show. Okay. Timer is out. We're getting started. Let's do it. To it, Lars. Just kidding. Just kidding, folks. We're working on it. Hold on. A bird just flew into Gonz's office and is terrorizing him. Oh no, it's horrible. It's not even a big bird, it's a small bird. But sometimes small birds can cause the most havoc. Okay, the bird has decided to let him start the show.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is February 6th in the year of our Lord 2023. We are live to tape on episode 587 today. Earth Birth Pangs. And signing on from Wrath the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gons, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomena, it's biblical.
That one comes up every once in a while, and what are you going to do? It's just the way it is.
Just feels like we're privileged to be, front row center on some end times kind of stuff, It's just really interesting.
So fun.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We are not on YouTube still. We're not on YouTube, and in fact, we might be double not on YouTube. We are trying to sift through the stacks of eviction notices that have been sent to us from YouTube. The YouTube channel might be just dead soon, might be completely dead. So we're going to be laying low on the YouTube.
Some Susan's arrows, multiple at once. It's a multifaceted attack.
How to make it biblical, that's for sure. So if you're on the Rumble, if you're on the D Live, if you're on the Odyssey, if you're on the other stuff, good job. Congratulations. Let some other people know that we're not on YouTube. I keep forgetting to put it in the email. Sorry. I'm sorry, okay? So I don't even know if this is even worth it anymore, but we're going to keep doing it. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown after this extraordinarily useful disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. Susan doesn't think so. She doesn't think we're good boys. But thank you to producer Faye Liverin for making us that beautiful animation. Just a nice, simple disclaimer animation there. Something to watch on the video instead of sitting there twirling your thumbs. We appreciate that very much, producer Faye Liverin.
Yeah, thank you.
And let me give you a rundown.
Yes, sir. Rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Yep, what does Satan and the earthquake in Turkey have to do with one another? Perhaps nothing, but perhaps something. We'll be checking out the timeline in regards to the Grammy performance of Sam Smith's Unholy and the Turkish earthquake. I don't know if the earthquake was Turkish. It was in Turkey. And yes, it's very interesting connections that Gons will surely weave for us. Good thing we're not on YouTube. Then we'll be checking in with Flippy, and Flippy is helping this generation train for a very chill, apocalyptic experience for the next generation, one that I'm very enthusiastic about. Then we'll be tuning back into Balloon Watch, folks. It's Balloon Watch 2023. We got some more info on that. A lot has happened since the last episode, and NPR is here to set the record straight. Then Gons is going to be giving us an academic view of U.S. investment into China's AI sector, and just how much of that is going to military use. I don't know. Do you know? Because you'll find out. Then, of course, one of the quickest turnarounds for a long-term, what's the word? I don't know. Not prophecy, prediction. There it is. For the legal use of AI in the courtroom, we'll be tapping into our social justice warrior selves to figure out how exactly the robots will overtake our court system. Then, block 2, we got masks. Unattractive people. Should they wear masks more often? We'll be checking in with the Daily Mail. Then I will be giving a rundown on the current state of pharmakia. Big things happening in the psychedelic space, and we'll be giving you an update there. Watch out, pastors. The psychedelic chaplains are coming for you. Then a little update on aliens from the good old Gonzi boy there, and we'll be finishing out the show with some Days of Noah. The chimeras are attacking. That's all very exciting, Gons, but let's start out with some of our lead stories.
Stories.
I don't know why I said it that way. Yeah. I felt myself getting bored with my rundown, and so
well, when the music stops and you're still rolling, it sometimes.
How long is that music? How long is that music?
2 minutes.
That was longer than 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't good.
You go on for...
I felt like, okay, Gons. I'm admitting that it was too long. Okay. We don't need to pile on.
All right.
I'll figure it out, folks.
He's a Satanist.
Indeed. This is Decider. And the headline here is Sam Smith, Kim Petras, Unholy Grammy performance expected to spark outrage. Quote, I guarantee there will be calls to CBS from outraged Christians.
Oh, it's a nice admission that it's about outraging the Christians. It's a very good marketing scheme.
Yes.
It's worked for, I'd say, about 80 years.
Outraging Christians? You think that they write it on the whiteboard as a method?
Yes, absolutely. It's a known, effective marketing scheme to do something to outrage Christians. So it's nothing new. But it is just another in a long line of very effective marketing campaigns.
Yeah, and of course, we're not going to show the whole performance there, but it was pretty much straight satanic stuff. Sam Smith.
Oh, it's Hollywood, baby. It's Hollywood, baby.
He's got his top hat with horns, and I mean, we don't have to get into it. However, this clip went viral. It was very interesting who sponsored this event, especially coming right after all the satanic imagery there. This is the tail end. I edited the Sam Smith part out mostly, and just goes right into the break and the fly-in Grammy Awards type thing. But here we go. Stop cheering.
65th Grammy Awards is sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh, woo! Satanic performance sponsored by Pfizer.
This satanic sex ritual is brought to you by Pfizer.
I mean,
I can't believe they're still doing that
it's just, I don't know.
All the YouTube and Twitter people called out the sort of nonsensical nature of Pfizer being the sponsor of everything, especially during the pandemic, that they're still pulling it off. Well, they got all that ad money they got to spend. They got to spend it somewhere.
I guess it clearly is not going to independent content creators. I'll tell you that. But so this is really just an observation. Okay. I know that some people think that things are coincidental, but I say coincidence is the plausible deniability of conspiracy. That's what I say. So, the Grammys started at about 5 p.m. West Coast time. Okay. And then 20 minutes later, we have the Turkish earthquake, which I think is, I'm not saying that the two are related. However, I think it's weird that there's a giant earthquake that killed thousands of people right as they're getting ready to do the old Satan performance there.
So here's the thing, folks. Those of you who've been around, you've known Gons for as long as I have. You'll remember a part of history in between about 2008 up until, I think it's still kind of happening, but 2008 to about 2016, the internet was basically built with the bricks of YouTube videos about satanic imagery in sort of public events or Hollywood movies or the Olympics or things like this. We have done many of these things. We are not doing one of these things now. However, there has always been a notable, a notable observation that, of course, and this is admitted by occultists themselves, that, to commit rituals in public space openly, it adds power to the ritual, whether you think that is literal magic, or maybe you think it's some sort of Jungian sort of metaphorical allusion to magic, whatever it is. Either way, doing it publicly and having a lot of human attention on it does give it power. So when you have these things that sort of line up chronologically, what did they call it during the pandemic? A chronological coincidence or something? A chronological correlation, I think, is our new term that we were given.
We're just throwing out a bunch of terms. Huh?
It does beg the question: what are these natural disasters? These climate change. Of course, this earthquake is caused by climate change. Maybe it was the Earth is heating up because of how hot that Sam Smith performance was.
Well, it seems like it's cooling down. It's a lot of cold records being broken right now. But yeah, I mean, for anybody who wants to see the reference, it's I did the whole time and date check there at Los Angeles time, where Crypto.com Arena, they started the Grammy show at 5 p.m. So maybe the performance was a little bit after, but in any case, it was 5 p.m. the start, and then 4:17 a.m. in Gaziantep, I think that's how you say it, in Turkey, was when the first initial 7 point, was it a huge earthquake?
7.8 was the last I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a humongous earthquake.
Yeah, which is really crazy. Huge disaster. It was leveling in cities and buildings and all sorts of nasty stuff.
Yeah. Let's just real quick, because we know there's brothers and sisters in Christ over there. So call upon the PRAYDUCERS.
PRAYDUCERS, assemble!
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just horrific footage. I'm not going to show any of it because that's part of the mind control there, is to just show tragedy over and over and over again. But yeah, buildings falling and things of that nature. There is here's a CNN headline: more than 2,800 dead as powerful quake hits southern Turkey and Syria. I mean, if you want to talk about biblical times and all that kind of stuff, I mean, geographically, it's pretty spot on. It's all that whole area. And there's all kinds of talk. Obviously, this sparks questions about HAARP and man-made earthquakes and
or CERN.
Or CERN, yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, because HAARP. That's the weather modification. Are they the earthquake machine?
They can cause. I think the idea is that they can, not maybe directly, but as sort of a side effect of messing with the ionosphere, they can create sort of issues and make geological events take place. Who knows? Those are just speculations. But there are some interesting things here. NPR had this headline: a Turkish castle that withstood centuries of invasion is damaged in the earthquake. And it says here, the Gaziantep castle, located in the heart of the cities closest to the quake's epicenter, began as an observation point during the Hittite Empire. The Hittite in the Bible? Yeah. Was fortified during the Roman Empire and expanded during the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I in the 6th century. The castle is unique for its irregular shape and 12 towers.
Ooh, it's
surrounded by a moat at one point as well. And they have the before and after photos. And clearly it's gone. I mean,
is it completely destroyed?
I mean, well, maybe not completely, but certainly kind of sits on a hill, and it's pretty damaged. At least from the photos.
The message is there is this castle was used to defend off imperialist, colonialist aggression for centuries, but climate change is a bigger threat than colonialism ever was. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. I read this article, must have been last month, about a entire village made of Disneyland type castles, like new ones. It was a village that a developer was putting together of like 700 Disneyland style castles that were being built, and they were, there's like a suburb. They were making a suburb of Disneyland castles for rich people. That was the plan. And then, surprise, surprise, 2022, the economic downturn kind of halted all the fun with that. So I wonder if those Disneyland castles are still standing.
$200 million ghost town in Turkey filled with castles reminiscent of Disneyland, minus all the people. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, you found it.
Business Insider article here, and it does look like a. Are these miniature or what's going on here? Are these life size?
They're kind of miniature. I don't know. I went through it. I think they're all like 3,000 square feet or something. I mean, you have the article, you could see it, but they're supposed to be, kind of like a little community filled with castles. But they didn't finish them. They're just sort of sitting there in this valley, but it's pretty trippy. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they can house some earthquake refugees now.
Well, if you want to start a real world Hobbit land, what's that place called where the hobbits live?
Yeah. Hobbit land. Yeah. You got it. Okay, tell me more about Turkey.
Sure. So obviously the internet filled with people who make predictions, and there's a guy named Frank Hoogerbeet at Hoggerbe, Hogrbe. He tweeted this out. Sooner or later, there will be a magnitude 7.5 #earthquake in this region, South Central Turkey, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, #DPREM. He posted this on February 3rd, 4 o'clock a.m., at least in my time. And you look at the map, and it's got, Turkey and, Syria and that whole area, Crete. And there's a red dot, indicating the location of where the earthquake will be. And if you go to some, I have the CNN report here. I mean, you look at a map of where the epicenter is, dead on. I mean, it is spot on exactly where this guy said what the earthquake was going to be. So I don't know. I mean, it's and
how does he claim to have pinpointed that?
Well, I'm not sure all the details, but the thread is interesting for anybody interested. It is linked. A bunch of people, there's some scam accounts that are trying to get in there and stuff, but for the most part, it seems that he was right. And he is actually part of the SSGE, which is the Solar System Geometry Survey, Research Institute for Monitoring Geometry between Celestial Bodies Related to Seismic Activity, based out of the Netherlands. So I don't know. I don't know
if his job.
That's his job, yeah, which makes sense. And I'm wondering if it's one of those things where it's, these people float these things out all the time. It's like you see something in, the geology or some seismic activity, and you're like, well, looks like there's some stuff going on here.
It's not like us that every absolutely ludicrous thing that we say ends up becoming true or being a part of some big national, uproar.
Right. The other,
we have to be careful about what we predict because it just tends to happen.
Yeah, I don't like the way things are going in that direction. So one of the other things that people were mentioning, and I don't know, I didn't have the time to vet this or anything. According to some people on the internet, I will just say that. Some Turkish leaders made threats or sort of pushed back against NATO expansion with Turkey. And I have a clip here. It's all in Turkish. There is some captions here. This guy's saying, I say to the American ambassador from here, I know which journalists you wrote to get your dirty hands off of Turkey. And he repeats that a few times. Get your dirty hands off Turkey, telling NATO to kind of back off. And, some people are speculating that maybe that's why, of course, a week after they get hit with a huge earthquake. They angered the NATO lords. And
that is interesting. Turkey is a fascinating player in the whole Ukraine war thing because Turkey and Russia, as I understand it, and I'm not a professional in the Turkey-Russo relations, but as I understand it, Turkey and Russia are actually kind of buddies. Right. I mean, they're not like, political allies necessarily officially, but they're kind of pals. And so with the whole Ukraine war, while Turkey is officially a member of NATO, they are also kind of pals with Russia. So there's a lot of kind of push and pull. They know, it's really tough for the U.S. and NATO to get Turkey to go along with things because, it hurts their relations with Russia. So that's why Turkey has a lot of, bargaining power when it comes to dealing with other NATO countries. They almost get 100% everything they want, and they hold out because they have the ability to kind of make trouble within the NATO alliance. In the sort of worldview where some sort of technological agency would be able to threaten or punish a geopolitical power through the sort of hidden powers of the earth or the climate or whatever.
Yeah.
They could certainly send us a message doing something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you'd hope that no human is capable of that, but we're not talking about.
Yes, but lizards, on the other hand.
That's what I'm saying.
Reptilians are more than capable. Enthusiastic, even.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood. And on that front, it's really interesting to me when we talk about earthquakes or we see earthquakes happen to this magnitude, because people bring up the Matthew 24, Luke 21 thing in the Bible where Jesus talks about many things, but starting in verse 4, he says, Jesus answered, to see to it that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name claiming I am the Christ and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, which clearly, balloon, come on. Balloon.
Rumors of balloons.
Which is funny because I wonder if when Jesus was saying all this, I'm sure he knew. He was like, you guys are going to see the balloon trick. It's going to be fantastic. Yes. But see to it that you're not alarmed. These things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. So we're not even at the main show yet. It's just the beginning. But
it is pretty weird timing, considering it was just last week all the reports about the Earth's core stopping, turning, and reversing and stuff. It's not unusual for a layman like myself to make some sort of temporally linked correlation there. Thank you, Runk Smash. Temporally linked was the phrase that we were given during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. The inner core, Earth's inner core may have stopped turning and could go in reverse, study suggests. And I think it was the Chinese researchers who said it stopped back in like 2009 or something, right?
Something happens all the time, apparently.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
All right. Well, we will continue, of course, to pray for the people in Turkey. That is not cool.
No.
Big earthquakes, things like this. So if we have any boots on the ground, Hungary is pretty near Turkey, isn't it? I think so. I'm an American. Don't hold me to this geographical knowledge. But I think so. If we have any producers on the ground over there in Turkey, let us know. Hit up our speak pipe at canarycrynewstalk.com. Leave us a message. Give us a little boots on the ground report. We'd love to know how things are going. And with that, Gons, it is, believe it or not, Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it?
That's right, folks. It's Monday. We're at it again. Look at this. This may, fingers crossed, be the first week in a few weeks that we've done the full 3 episodes a week. We are planning on it, and we're just getting started. So thanks for being here. Let's see. Gons, anything exciting happen over the weekend?
Nothing exciting over the weekend, but I do want to mention, if you want to call watching the Doctor Strange movie, the multiverse movie from last year. I know I'm a little behind. I'm catching
up to your Marvel canon.
Yeah, I was just terrified the whole time of the Scarlet Witch. Just freaking out.
Yes, very spooky. Very. Talk about satanic.
Yeah.
This Marvel is just like, let's just make Doctor Strange. He used to be the sort of suave, sort of quirky, dimension traveling wizard. Let's just make him an actual demon. There we go. He's an actual demon.
Give him all the demon powers. The whole thing with dreams, it's just weird. And I wanted to mention that, while I was down and out with COVID, allegedly, the fever that I had for a few days, it's pretty common to have like weird dreams, I actually had a couple nightmares and I wrote them down. This is before I saw the movie, which is why the movie kind of tripped me out. I was like, okay, this is weird. So I'm not going to get into all the details because, dreams, it's all very vivid and emotional. It's a lot more emotion driven. Well, at one point I was at a house, which presumably was my house. It didn't look like anything where I live, but it was a house. And these people just started showing up. and they were kind of like thug looking. They didn't have faces really. They were like covered faces, and they started attacking. So I had to start fighting back. And it was a sort of a Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if you've ever played that game, but there's one guy, but you're going through like thousands of soldier people. It's kind of like that. And then this lady shows up. She's like a Viking queen, goddess. She's got this like dress armor on, and she does this somersault in the air thing on the driveway of my house. And her sword that's way too big, the metal, is clanking every time she does the little twist thing in the air, and there's sparks flying, and I had to fight this lady.
You had to fight the Viking lady.
The Viking lady. And my dad tosses me. My dad tosses me a katana. He tosses it to me. I pull it out, and it's rusty. A rusty old katana, and I had to defeat this crazy goddess woman that was trying to attack me. Anyway, I chalked it up to COVID nightmares. It's probably just me fighting off the virus, living out in some meta reality in the dreamscape.
Very vivid, very specific.
Yeah. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, folks. I'm telling you, this is some crazy stuff. But
it's time we start polishing your katana, guys.
I know. I might have to reach into this reality to get my weapons.
Yeah,
proper weapons.
You can tell you've been watching a lot of Marvel.
So there you go. Yeah. Anything fun for you over the weekend?
That's a good question. No, it got cold, and I'm learning the off-grid lesson about burying water lines because I have to run hoses everywhere from pretty much one water source, and every single splitter, hose splitter where you make one into two, just has exploded over the weekend. And so it's bad news. Buddy. I gotta go get a bunch of hose splitters, and what I really need to do is bury those lines. I was being lazy, and now I get to learn the lessons of a lazy person.
I don't know what your geography is, but can you use gravity as a method to try to establish to
turn
water?
One hose into two hoses?
Yeah, or just the whole system,
Gravity isn't real, this. But yes, I need to think of something. It's time to. I can't. That's one. Maybe perhaps the most valuable lesson about living off the grid now has been you cannot sort of rest on your laurels for very long. You may have one victory. I just put in the solar system. I'm feeling good about myself, living comfortably. This is awesome. And then it's like 5 days later, the whole thing explodes. So it's a constant project out here.
Well, you might have some friends in Italy. Didn't their whole country basically shut down electricity a couple days ago? It was a pretty big
I did
blackout.
not hear about that.
I think they had a huge, it was a huge one.
Well, the electricity's good. Now I'm moving on to water. So there you go. That'll be the next thing that I'm complaining about this week is how, putting in permanent water lines is going. And I'm looking forward to it. I have yet to start my, Basil's Bunker Academy or something, because I know when I first moved out here, a lot of people were interested.
Yeah, you should do like a little a camp, like a summer camp for kids.
Yeah, a little survivalist camp thing. I've thought about it. Oh, trust me, I've thought about it. If we do like a Canary Cry apocalypse, I don't know, get together, meetup thing, I've got some space. It'll have to be a camp out, and everybody has to
everybody gets to sleep on Basil's land.
You get to sleep on the ground, and everybody has to bring a hose splitter if you want water. All right, that's enough of that. And the only reason I'm able to afford all these hose splitters is because of our producers. Let's thank some of our executive producers now.
Executive producers.
Oh, that's right, folks. We're on the value for value model. You know it. You'd love it. We take no corporate money whatsoever. So the whole point is that if corporate money makes it into your independent media, they are no longer independent media. Because what are they independent from? They're taking money from the same system that has got us in this mess in the first place. And that's how we do it. No corporate money. Instead, we are produced by our producers. That's you, folks. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And we'll be thanking all sorts of producers through the length of the show. But we're going to start out by thanking executive producers, who are those who come in generously and with a war cry to be heard, like a Viking woman attacking Gonza's home. So we thank them. They're the real VIPs around here.
I get a little goosebumps every time you mention it. It's like, oh, yeah, man, she was really...
I think there's something in there, man. So, yes, that's right. If you want to produce the show, like I said, lots of ways to do it. One of the most exciting ways to do it is the new and very impressive, exciting new development called the Canary Cry News Talk, the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council. That's right. Tell you more about the T-Shirt Council in a second, because we're going to thank our, as of now, one executive producer for today's show. Okay. You ready, Gons?
Yep, ready.
Okay, coming in to make it all happen, we've got executive producer Poco Joe.
Poco Joe. Thank you very much, Poco Joe.
Thank you very much, Poco Joe. And Poco Joe is actually on a 2-episode streak.
Oh, that executive streak.
It's not an executive streak, just a regular streak.
So close. I see.
Still
Try
good,
to sneak
though.
it in.
Still good. Thank you, Poco Joe. And a nice round number here, so we won't disclose it. And a note that says, I've been praying Psalm 91 over my family, which includes you, Gons, and Basil. Ooh, thank you. What a blessing to be part of the family of God. Thank you for being salty salt. With love from a future dame, Poco Joe. P.S. Don't trust Patreon.
Ooh, yeah.
We don't. We do not trust Patreon. That is true.
Lacking trust of Patreon, yeah.
However, if you want to, you can still produce through the Patreon. Yes?
Yeah, Poco Joyo.
Where'd you find this?
Nope.
What?
This is Poco Joe.
Oh, Poco Joe. What did I say?
No. I have no idea.
Poco
you added
Joyo?
an extra thing in there. That's okay, though.
Okay, Poco Joe. Sorry, Poco Joe.
Where'd you find this?
There's something I want to mention before we move on. There's a new link in the description part of the show notes, and it's to valueforvalue.info. It's value, the number 4, value.info. And this is a website that was put together by Adam Curry, who's the guy who came up with the whole thing. And it's just a good resource to, if you want to understand it more, it's all sort of laid out. Yeah.
Honestly, look, we owe Adam a lot for proving that this method can work, and so we can steal it and support ourselves. We're very grateful. I checked out valueforvalue.org, whatever it is.
It's .info, yeah.
Okay, I checked it out. This would have been about 6 months ago, and I thought it was a good start, but I think I've got some valuable things to add to it. There's some sections of it I feel didn't quite capture at least the essence of how we do it or our thoughts about it. So I did read it, and I wanted to make some what's the word? I don't know, some entries. Maybe they should make it a wiki, value for value wiki, where people can come in. Anyways, so you can go check it out. They got the basics are there.
Just a resource, and not saying that we're fully agreement with every word written on these websites, but it's just another resource to help you out, help you understand
you know what?
it.
While we're here at the Top Guns, I do want to take a sec and add one more group of producers at the top of the show here to thank, and that is the Canary Cry T-Shirt Club. T-Shirt Council. That's right. I'm going to keep it short, everybody, because I don't want to take up too much time. But if you missed last episode, you missed that the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council has begun. That's right. It is a secretive, shadowy organization of Canary Cry producers who have committed. They are bound by an oath to support the show for $19.84 a month. And it's sort of an extension of the supply drop program that we have. It is not included in the supply drop, but we wanted something a little bit more affordable for people who couldn't quite swing the $33.33. So this is the Canary Cry T-shirt Council for $19.84, 1984, supporting the show. Like with that every month, we'll be sending out T-shirts every 3 months, once per quarter, on the same schedule as the supply drop. And it's awesome. We've got years and years of awesome art from producers. Of course, we've got Sir Dove and Sir Salmons and Sir Darren and Dame Allie and all of the artists that you love from the show for so many years. We have just a treasure trove of things to make shirts out of. You can see a bunch of examples on the website there. And there you go. People have been asking us for T-shirts for years, and some people stopped even asking. They just started making their own T-shirts, which is fine. I totally support that. But we thought to make it easier, if you want to start getting your Canary Cry New Stock T-shirts, this is the exclusive way to do it. You will support the show. And here's another exciting thing. Producer Isaac, who has been doing the supply drop for free for over a year now, he is actually the one doing the printing of these shirts. So through his company. So we are actually supporting Canarians as well. We're keeping it all in the family. That's right. Not sending off producer money to just some random T-shirt printing operation. These are being lovingly printed by Canarians in America. So really keeping the circle tight on this one. So if you want to do that, we'll throw the link in the chat here. But I did just purchase and start forwarding the URL canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. canarycrytshirtcouncil.com, or you can go to canarycry.party. You'll see a link up there at the top. And we've had a few people sign up over the weekends, so let's thank them now.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's do it, yeah.
These are the most important people in the world.
Wow.
And that's what I want to really sink in.
Okay.
When you join the Canary Cry T-shirt Council, you become some sort of VIP protected asset of the Canarium.
Protected asset. Wow.
And we're very
you're an asset, huh?
You're an asset. You've become an asset. And if you ever get in trouble, you just wear your Canary Cry T-shirt, and then birds will come down, Snow White style, pick you up and fly you to safety. We haven't trained these birds yet, but we're working on it. So here's the most important people in the world. Let's thank them right now. Christian N.
Hey, Christian N.
Norwegian producer, getting his shirt. Thank you very much, Christian N. We got producer Catherine R.
Catherine R. Thank you
very much, Catherine R. Dame Gail, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
Dame Gail,
it's gonna be looking good in the T-shirts. We got Dwight B. in the house.
Dwight B. Wow, a lot of people, huh?
I think Dwight B might actually be a sir. I'm not sure yet, but Dwight B has held meetups before. So
right.
We got to get Dwight B a shirt. Thank you, Dwight B. And then you know him, you love him, Rab from Western Russia.
Hey, Rab from
very own KGB handler.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you guys very much. And again, if you're out there, head on over to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com or go to canarycry.party. You'll see the link there. Join up. It's a little more affordable than the supply drop. I know the supply drop is a little much for some people nowadays, but this is a great way to support the show, support other Canarians, and finally get those T-shirts that you've craved for so long, because truth never goes out of style.
Okay.
Thanks. Let's get the show going with Flippy Update.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. Time for the Flippy Update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. We've talked about Flippy for so long, and not just his existence or his very strong muscles or his dexterity or the way that he is sort of being marketed into our hearts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a deep exploration, the Flippy update. But this one's a little different, but I think you found this one, and I think it actually fits very well, Guns.
I'm glad you're doing it, because you typically avoid the robot arm as it pertains to a body that replaces your arm with a robot arm.
One of our protocols for the Flippy update is that we avoid stories about prosthetics specifically, because that's just not what we're trying to necessarily talk about. And prosthetics, it's kind of outside the purview of, I think, the more concerning parts about robots taking over the world, But this one is adjacent to that. This is about a game. This is coming from Gematsu.com, a gaming website. The headline is "Chill Apocalyptic Builder. I Am Future launches in early access on May 18th." That is a strangely worded thing to read out loud, but when you look at it, it makes sense. So it's about a game called I Am Future. And I went ahead and got the demo of this game.
Okay.
Let's hear a little bit about what convinced me to do this. Chill Apocalyptic Builder I Am Future will launch in early access for PC via Steam on May 18th. Publisher Tiny Build and developer Mandragora announced a demo is available now. Here's an overview of the game via Tiny Build. In I Am Future, you find yourself awakened from cryogenic sleep on top of an overgrown rooftop surrounded by ocean. Earth has been evacuated, and you've been left behind.
Again. Sorry. I've been doing the whole science fiction TV show thing. Every single story. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Which TV show is this?
There's the Colony. There's the Oblivion.
Your
there's the
fever dreams.
The jungle thing. There's just so many.
Very common storyline nowadays. I Am Future. You find yourself awakened from cryogenic sleep on top of an overgrown rooftop surrounded by ocean. Earth has been evacuated, and you've been left behind with nothing but a bionic arm and a few robots needing repairs. On the plus side, the views are fantastic, and there's fresh fruits and vegetables growing nearby with a little elbow grease and some WD-40 for your robot arm.
Okay.
This could be a nice place to live. Upgrade your arm, scavenge resources, pick plants, craft workbenches, and plant gardens. There's a lot of work to do, but once you're set up, you'll be free to kick back and go fishing. Then cook up some fresh meal every day. Plus, a savvy engineer knows how to delegate. Build yourself some robot pals to share the load. And this apocalypse stuff could be downright cushy. There's no fighting for your life in I Am Future, but you will have to tend to your territory. The end of the world, the end of the old world brings new threats, with mutant bugs appearing at night to nibble on your plants and suck your electronics dry. Nothing a can of insecticide can't fix. Blah, blah, blah. My mouth has stopped working. But not every night can be relaxing. As for what happened here, and why you can't remember anything, that's a mystery for you to unravel. Or ravel.
Oh, yeah. Taking a lot of,
see, a lot of connection.
Stuff, right?
One thread at a time. Fix up those robots, start asking questions, and maybe send some drones out to scout the surrounding city for clues. I'm sure it'll make sense eventually. There's no need to rush. And then it says you can go ahead and go get the game. So I actually I got the demo because you sent it. It looked interesting. I had a few minutes. This was actually this morning when I should have been getting ready for the show.
But I'm sorry. Can I just mention, just because it was a funny part. I don't know if you were doing it on purpose or not, but we were having this conversation. We were just getting the show ready, and you're talking, and you say, "Yeah, I've been playing the game for like 3 minutes, so I can kind of some interesting things." And then a couple minutes later, he said, "Well, I've been playing for about 5 minutes." And then I would say 2 minutes later, he said, well, I've been playing for 15 minutes. So, I got some things to say about it. And
it's more of a poetic 3 minutes. Is what it was. I thought I would just play it for 3 minutes, but you know how it is playing video games.
Well, I thought you were still playing it. I thought you were trying to do, show prep while playing, Sam Bankman-Fried style, doing some big $1 million deals while playing video games.
I need some more Adderall if I was going to do that.
That's true.
So, anywho, I started playing it. It's an interesting game. It's one of these new types of games. And by new types of games, what I mean is they are incredibly boring and slow. And, it's this newfangled idea with video games that they should be relaxing.
Right.
And they shouldn't be, it's got a little bit of kind of a Gen Z vibe of like, no, man, there's no real mission. You kind of just
kind of hang out, man. You got to just kill those evil Nephilim plant eaters, but other than that,
you just kind of live your life. There's no sort of rush to complete any quests or anything. So there's this very laid back thing, which can be very relaxing if that is what somebody
going
wants.
Fishing. There's a scene of him going fishing and.
Bro, don't even get me started on the history of fishing in video games. Fishing in video games has been a thing for quite some time now, but the fact that it has maintained its place as like one of the most important things you can do in most games is fish is so bizarre to me. But that's for
it's embedded in the human experience.
It's a whole thing, man. It's very strange. Yeah. So anyways, I started playing this game, and like you just read, you wake up, you're on this rooftop, and you kind of just start, fixing things and meeting little robots and trying to fix robots, stuff like that. The first one that you meet, that I met, this will have a couple of spoiler alerts, but it shouldn't hurt anything, is one of them is a refrigerator. You meet a refrigerator that has a little face. It's a robotic sort of sentient appliance. And you put the battery in the fridge, and now you can eat. And
Earl.
Yes, Earl. And it goes on to talk to you and tell you how Earl is this smart refrigerator and how Earl once was a human, but in the old world had his consciousness uploaded to a computer. And so now he is like, his job is to be a refrigerator. And I thought this was very interesting because one thing we've been talking about for 10 years is the 2045 agenda, which is a group of scientists, international scientists,
Dmitry Itzkov.
Yes, mainly Russians.
Russian oligarchs.
They so very badly want to upload their minds, their consciousnesses to computers, and how, this is actually kind of closer than any of us really could have expected right now.
Yeah.
So in this world, all the smart appliances were actually once humans, and they had their consciousness uploaded like before they died or whatever. And instead of just letting them live in computer land, they were put to work as appliances.
Wow.
Which is just horrific and a beautiful example of like, the biblical reference of how people will wish to die,
seek
but they
death,
won't.
Not find it. Revelation 9.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which we've connected to the 2045 for quite some time. But it really made sense if you upload your consciousness and you then have to live an actual life as a refrigerator.
Well, hopefully it's not really you. It's sort of an imprint of you that
seek death,
and that's part of that could be part of sort of the deception too. Is all these people thinking that they got their grandpa in their toaster or something.
Well, we don't need to go into it, but yes, you get the point. So that's one thing you learn in this game is all the robots were actually once people.
Oh, good.
Great. And I thought this was interesting because, of course, Flippy Update, we've explored the marketing of personhood of robots. The idea that robots are persons, maybe not humans, but persons. They should be treated with respect. They should have rights. They should be legally liable, or are they legally liable? This broad societal conversation about the personhood of robots. And yeah, if your refrigerator was once an actual human being, there's quite the case to be made for, the personhood of your robots.
Do you think they're planning, lizard people, are planning to have somebody be kind of the first to do that. Yeah, I can picture, Jeff Bezos or somebody. It's written in his contract or will or something where it's like, well, we're gonna, even if it doesn't work, I want you to try. I want you to try to upload me into.
Yeah, we already have that. Isn't Ray Kurzweil, hasn't he committed to doing
some of that is cryogenic stuff, but yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. It's, I guess, this whole 2045 thing anyway. I mean, that's
there's all these lizard people.
I just went to 2045.com just to see if they've updated anything, and it's literally the exact same website as they had in 2013 when they had their New York event.
That's very funny. That's
10 years. 10 years we've been looking at this type of information.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff like this. There's one other notable thing in this game was the robotic arm. Of course, we got to talk about Flippy. Yeah. And so you start out, you wake up from cryogenesis, and you find a robotic arm that is your sort of bionic arm, is your buddy. And you spend a lot of time, getting new tools and upgrades for this arm. But you learn in the history of the game, the robotic arm was actually a symbol of leadership. It was a symbol on the money of the old world, right? Where we have, the all-seeing eye and the pyramid and George Washington's face.
Right.
In this game, they had the robotic arm.
Wow.
Which is coming pretty close to the edge of some intellectual property infringement, I'd say, on the Flippy update. Because the whole point of the Flippy update, it's not about the robotic arm. It is that the robotic arm represents power and the change of humanity and a loss of humanity in a game. It means a lot of things. And it also means power. It's a symbol. And that's what it was in this game. Was the robotic arm was, I guess the president of the world or whatever before the apocalypse had a robotic arm. And so it got put on the money, and it became a symbol of unity and power and resilience for humankind and all this kind of stuff. So that got me a little twisted too. I'm just kind of like, okay, I did just get flippyupdate.com. We do have the website. It's time to start staking our claim in a lot of this intellectual property.
They may be listening or doing some kind of data scrap where they find all the information. And
we'll see. So I might pick around on it a little bit more, this game. I honestly don't do a whole lot of gaming anymore because I have exploding hose splitters.
You have real life.
A lot of time.
You have like your own version of I Am Future.
I am. Yeah. I'm pretty much playing a real life version of Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or something 24/7, which is not as relaxing as the game was.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day. They're making it into the social programming of our Gen Z chill gamers.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
Look out for Tiny Build, which is
Tiny Build,
and another company called Mandragora. Those are the two who came up with the game here. So
that's right.
I have some questions for these fellas.
I Am Future is what it's called. Yeah. So there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day.
All right. Let's see some wars.
And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
Welcome to Chinese news.
It comes from China. 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 It's not racist at all, no.
Got a quick update on the balloon situation. It's been shot down.
Balloon watch. Didn't we have a jingle for this?
We did.
Yes,
Hold on.
Did.
I have to. Yeah, sorry. I have not prepared for that.
I know you mentioned I'm not the only one.
I know you mentioned it prior to the show.
Yeah. That's
here we go.
You said that this is violating our airspace, so why not take it down?
Yeah, so, clearly, as we assess options and considering the size of the payload on this, looking at the potential for debris and the impact on civilians on the ground or property damage.
Please describe America to me in one single word.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was the foothills of the...
I was going to say could be defined in one single word. Balloon.
Balloons.
Thank you very much. That's from Jonathan F. Just sent us that in for us today. Thank you.
Yep. Couple headlines here. The Guardian had this Chinese accuse U.S. of overreaction after it shot down high altitude balloon. Some saber rattling, I guess you can call it.
It wasn't even that. I mean, this is the interesting thing. So this was wild because I think they shot it down on Friday or maybe it was Saturday, but it's pretty much right after we reported on it. It got shot down. I'm surely you've all heard this, that they shot the balloon down and then it was
F-22.
Yes, F-22.
Down the balloon.
Waited till it was off the coast of North Carolina. And then just the conversation about the balloon would not stop. And then, of course, they found a way to bring Trump into it.
Oh, that's right.
And, we had 3 balloons during Trump's
Why didn't Trump do anything?
Why didn't he do anything? Biden's a war hero for shooting down this balloon. He shot it down over the ocean. But I found this NPR article, and I thought it was very fascinating. There was a whole weekend of dissecting the balloon situation, making it the most important thing in the world. And then NPR came out with this today and was just like, okay, we're done with the balloon, everybody. We're not
NPR?
Let me just wrap it up.
Wow.
We're done with the balloon.
Greg Meyer, the author of this article. Interesting.
Yeah. And I liked this article, and I think it's interesting even in just like the analysis of the cycle, the news cycle about the balloon. Because, of course, something else is going on. Why are they so focused on this balloon? What message is being sent? Of course, they want to start World War III and blah, 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 blah. But there's so many different aspects of it being touched on, and I really appreciated NPR here. They wrapped it all up nice and tight, and they're just like, okay, stop asking about the balloon. But it goes like, do you want to read this? Or you want me to zoom through it?
Yeah, you can just speed through it if you want. Yeah.
The headline is, "This wasn't the first Chinese balloon over the U.S. Why were others ignored?" Which is kind of interesting because they're implicitly begging the question, like, why aren't we ignoring this one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, why did we ignore the others? Well, the other side of that is, why are we paying attention to this one?
Yeah.
Given the hullabaloo over the Chinese surveillance balloon, which I'm pretty sure is word for word what I called it. Given the hullabaloo over the Chinese surveillance balloon, you'd think something like this had never happened before. But it has, at least 4 other times in recent years. Another thing we pointed out. According to U.S. officials, Chinese balloons crossed over the U.S. at least 3 times during the Trump administration, and at least 1 other time earlier in the Biden administration, which is a fun detail, Gons, because at least on Twitter, Democrats were loving the fact that Trump didn't shoot down some balloons.
Yeah, well, Biden, I guess, didn't the first time either.
They also forgot and didn't know that, yes, there was another balloon during Biden's presidency as well.
The partisan thing happening about this is infuriating to me. People getting so lost in the right-left paradigm with this topic. It is unbelievable. I kind of felt hopeless for our country.
It is truly. It's almost wow. It's almost offensive.
Unbelievable.
How the balloon issue, it is almost a totally unimportant event, with the exception of responses, and that's what a psyop is.
Yeah, it's exactly what a psyop is.
An unimportant event. It's not always unimportant, but to take an event so boring as a literal balloon floating across the country and turning it into a flashpoint for every partisan conversation.
Prime time news, baby.
And that's
military flex.
That's the point.
Who's strong? Are we strong? Is America strong? No, this showed weakness. America's weak.
Opportunity for further divide. According to U.S. officials, I just read that. However, the U.S. was not aware of the Chinese incursions at the time. Talking about the Trump ones and the first Biden one. The U.S. was not aware of the Chinese incursions at the time.
Why not?
They're still called incursions.
Why?
According to Air Force General Glenn Van Herk, the head of NORAD and the officer responsible for domestic air threats. Strange way to word that. Hey, this is Glenn Van Herk. He's responsible for domestic air threats. He told a news conference that the military only learned of the intrusions after they were pieced together by the intelligence community after they happened. Previously, these balloons would just float through and nobody would notice
Nobody
it.
cared.
Quote, as the NORAD commander, it is my responsibility to detect threats to North America, Van Herk said. Quote, I will tell you that we did not detect those threats, and that's a domain awareness gap that we have to figure out.
Oh, domain
they
want full. What is it? Isn't it called full domain dominance or something like that? Full spectrum.
Full
That's what
spectrum dominance.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, domains are included in the spectrum.
Well, so it's funny here. You know, there's an admission that this balloon is so silly and so stupid, but it's also so effective that we didn't even notice it the first 5 times. Quote, the intel community after the fact made us aware of the balloons that were previously approaching North America or transited North America, he added. U.S. officials have not said precisely when or where those balloon incursions took place or how the intelligence community was able to discover them in retrospect. Good question. How were they able to time travel and see the balloons? U.S. officials say those incursions were brief, unlike the most recent one, which lasted for a week. Representative Michael Waltz, a Florida Republican, said defense officials identified the locations of the previous balloon incursions when briefing lawmakers over the weekend. The Washington Post reported the locations including Texas, Florida, Hawaii, and Guam. The Biden administration and the Pentagon say they've offered to brief senior officials in the Trump administration about the incursions that took place during Donald Trump's time in office. So this is kind of an interesting detail. Like, yeah, if you did work in the White House during Trump, we will fill you in on the balloons you missed. It's just kind of like a weird burn. Yeah. Like, you missed them, we'll tell you about them. On social media, Trump described the Chinese balloon incursions during his presidency as fake disinformation.
Wait, if it's fake and it's disinformation, does that mean it's true?
I don't know. Fake disinformation. So he's holding fast. There were no balloons. There were no balloons when I was president. One of Trump's defense secretaries, Mark Esper, told CNN, quote, I don't ever recall somebody coming into my office or reading anything that the Chinese had a surveillance balloon above the United States. So, again, Trump missed the balloons. Okay. And it says, a much different incident this time. So here we go. This is kind of like the documents. This is literally a replay of the documents drama. The Biden documents, the Trump documents, stuff like this.
The classified documents is what you're talking
about.
Yes. Okay.
So they have to tell you why Biden's is so much better than Trump's. Okay. U.S. officials say the Chinese motive remains unclear. Okay. The U.S. believes Chinese satellites have already acquired the same or very similar information. No kidding.
No kidding.
China has been using balloons to surveil numerous other countries in recent years, which is somewhat puzzling to U.S. officials.
Why is it puzzling? It should not be. That should not be puzzling.
It's puzzling. Why do
the amount of balloons that have been used in history for at least 100 years.
I have loved watching your balloon.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
You went on a balloon rant.
I went crazy.
Twitter.
Yeah.
But yes, balloons have always been a big part of intelligence. Since balloons existed, they were intelligence gathering.
I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said that, this could be used for military purposes when they first, showed up with the balloons. So
listen to this. China's massive espionage program is considered first rate.
Oh, hey.
TikTok and they have children born in the United States specifically to grow up and get into corporate espionage and spy on Americans. And they have the Confucius Institutes, which infiltrated all education. American universities, real first-rate espionage programs. And it continues, yet the balloon operation over the U.S. was seen as clumsy and clunky. Yeah. The Chinese had to know that a large balloon visible to civilians with the naked eye would be detected. Yeah. By the way, this thing was...
Oh my gosh, this person is...
3 school buses wide. The balloon was absolutely humongous.
Okay.
That raises the possibility that one of the Chinese goals was to see how the U.S. would react to this kind of provocation. So, a pen test, a penetration test, or a stress test or something, just to see what they would do. Again, one could say the exact, and we have said that the U.S. could have just released their own balloon.
They had their own program that they talked about it. I think 3 years ago, there was an article about their own balloon program. So,
that's right. They were bragging about their own balloon program. So now it's interesting. The NPR article kind of gives the impression that they don't even really know that it is a Chinese balloon. But the clear answer is that it sparked a partisan feud, and the U.S. Republicans are attacking President Biden for not shooting down the balloon sooner, while most Democrats are defending the president for taking a cautious, measured approach. So, kind of admitting it seems like the Chinese sent the balloon over simply to cause a ruckus and for no other reason. Or somebody else did. The episode also ratcheted up U.S.-China tensions and led Secretary of State Antony Blinken to cancel a trip this week to China, where he planned to meet senior leaders in an effort to reduce friction. Then it talks about how they shot it down off the South Carolina coast, and we all know this story. They shot it down with the F-22. China's foreign ministry said in a statement, quote, "The U.S. use of force is a clear overreaction and a serious violation of international practice," which it is. I mean, that's a very...
China would know. China would know the violation, the rule book quite well, probably. Yeah,
that's right. And long story short, the debris from the exploding balloon is sort of spread out over a few miles, but it's fairly shallow water. The Navy is getting some submarines down there, some unmanned vehicles. U.S. officials feel they've already learned some lessons by closely tracking the balloon for a week before shooting it down. Quote, "This gave us the opportunity to assess what the Chinese were actually doing, what kind of capabilities existed on the balloon, what kind of transmission capabilities existed. While the U.S. has not divulged details, it did try to electronically jam the Chinese equipment to keep it from transmitting back to China. Security was also increased at sensitive U.S. military sites in an attempt to shield them from the balloon." So there is some interesting things to learn about what is recovered from the quote unquote Chinese balloon.
Wasn't somebody quoted if they're or mentioned that they're going to look for biological weaponry or something like that, as part of the...
I don't know. I didn't see that.
Somebody mentioned.
It may be. I mean, I saw it on Twitter. Twitter was, there's some QAnon people about, how the balloon was spreading COVID and stuff. Right. A lot of EMP talk, it was floating at the exact height that a EMP would be effective.
Science Times had this headline, Chinese spy balloon suspected to hold bioweapons, U.S. shoots it down. That's Science Times. So I don't know if that's...
Suspected, yes, Science Times. Who's suspected? This is suspected to be a bioweapon. Science Times says nothing.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, there's one headline.
Yeah, okay.
Here's something else, though, with the whole Abe Lincoln not going to China and canceling the China trip. And I think this is relevant. This is from NPR as well. And this is from February 2nd. The U.S. and the Philippines agreed to a larger American military presence. The DoD announced the move that is widely seen as a way to deter China's influence in the region amid a visit to the Philippines by U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. So Lloyd Austin went to the Philippines, and I think it's been like 30 years since the U.S. had military presence in the Philippines. And if you look at a map, Basil, of the Philippines, their northern tip is just a few hundred kilometers from Taiwan. So, or not, was it Taiwan or Thailand? I always get the two mixed up.
I think Taiwan.
Yeah, Thailand, right? Hold on. Why am I having a brain fart about this?
I don't even know what the point you're trying to make is.
The point is that the U.S. is encroaching in that region, right?
Oh, they're preparing,
they're preparing, and so Blinken would be asked about that if he went to China. Mm-hmm. They probably don't want to be talking about that stuff right now.
Avoid talking about the Philippine bases.
Yes.
You mean okay?
And Japan too. Japan's getting kind of worked up as well for war, so it's very interesting. All this is taking place. So for me, this NPR article was interesting because it touched on every single little bit of what everybody was talking about. Mm-hmm. And I think we're done with the balloon. I think the balloon's done. It did its job. Mm-hmm. And I think it was more of a stress test on the political flashpoints of the day, whether it was Chinese or an American balloon. It was obviously a provocation, not of governments, but of partisan hacks is what it was. The PSYOP worked once people made it political, like the immediate get-go of one leader versus another, what one leader would have done over another, all that stuff. But I would like to take you down the rabbit trail, if I may.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Artificial intelligence!
Now, I know you don't like yarn, Basil, red yarn sometimes.
Don't I?
But this is something that another observation that I thought was interesting. So this is an article from February 1st, Yahoo Finance mirroring Reuters. And the headline is U.S. investors have plowed billions into China's AI sector, report shows.
Oh, there's an image for you.
Yeah, U.S. investors plowing billions into China AI sector. And it says here that it's basically between 2015 and 2021, a bunch of big corporations, investment arms of Intel Core, Qualcomm Inc. accounted for nearly a fifth of investments in Chinese artificial intelligence companies. And, we've kind of known about this, and they talk a little bit about the amount of money, about $40 billion. And they mention a couple blacklisted companies. We've seen sort of the sanctions against China in recent years. According to the report, U.S. investor GSR Ventures invested alongside China's iFlyTech Co. Ltd. in a Chinese AI company after the speech recognition firm was added to a trade blacklist. Silicon Valley Bank and Wangjiang American Healthcare Investments Group made investments in Chinese AI firms alongside China's SenseTime before the powerhouse in facial recognition technology was added to the same trade blacklist. And then it mentions this little thing. It mentions Goldman Sachs, of course, and no surprises there. The very last sentence of this article: only one Chinese AI company that received funding from U.S. investors is involved in developing AI applications for military or public safety uses.
Oh, wow. Just one, huh?
According to CSET.
Yeah, just one. News. Just one.
Only one, guys. There's only one Chinese AI company that's helping build applications for the American military and public safety. Don't worry, guys.
Police.
Balloon.
Police.
Everybody look at the balloon.
Yeah, it's killer AI for military and police use. Again, and it's not so much, we're going to do that anyways, but it's when China builds something for us, the Chinese Communist Party has a direct line in through the back door. So, TikTok, where the CCP has control over, the messaging sent out to millions of teenagers all over the country, can control public opinion with a push of a button. Yeah, well, it's kind of like that, except for it's the AI controlling our tanks and our police
by the way,
software.
How easy would a story like the balloon be to create the atmosphere on all social media, especially something like TikTok, especially people in that region that have TikTok, right? You got all these geolocation data because they're all trying to film the balloon. It's a brilliant psyop to gather the data from everybody. Now, I know I'm connecting two different little areas with, geopolitics or whatever with AI, But come on, if there's a Chinese AI company that's already got its hand in U.S. military development. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this is information that folks should know if they're going to start yelling about Trump or Biden or who's doing the better thing. It's like, okay, great. But in the back, there's deals taking place, billions of dollars moving from our people, like American investors, into Chinese companies. And they're as before.
Which is hilarious because we need military and police grade AI specifically so we could fight wars. Oh, I don't know, like with China. We're having so we're sending China billions of dollars to help build a weapon system that we'll use against them. Sure, they wouldn't dream of putting some sort of Skynet kill switch on the back of that. That's great.
Yeah.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
That's right. It was just a few days ago, folks. We were talking about the AI lawyer who, or the creator of which, who got threatened with jail time for threatening to deconstruct the whole legal profession and get put in jail for 6 months for inventing an AI that could replace lawyers.
It could help the citizens, but we can't have that. But we can't have
cheap access to good legal advice. No. This is not about that, but during that segment, I did make a big point about how it has to be a social justice issue in order to progress the use of AI through the legal system, because you are dealing with very, very powerful, the most powerful people in our nation are either lawyers or employ the best lawyers, spend lots of money on lawyers. So the justice system is a very difficult place for disruption, as the Silicon Valley dudes would call it. But as we know, in these times, it takes a strong social justice aspect to start to break down those barriers of power. And I think we're coming pretty close to it right here. Gons, abcnews.go.com, a new scientific method for bail reform.
Ooh, okay.
Could this end the cash bail system? Critics are skeptical. Cities and towns around the country are turning to a new scientifically based algorithm.
Oh, good.
I like that. Scientifically based algorithm.
Wait a minute. Hold on. How many unscientific algorithms are there?
It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. This reporter is trying their best. This is a scientifically based algorithm, not a faith-based algorithm. So cities and towns, so we're talking about municipalities here, government, around the country are turning to a new scientifically based algorithm that will work to help judges make decisions during pre-trial processes in an attempt to create fairer judicial procedures that are less focused on a cash-based bail system. And this cash-based bail system is maybe one of the biggest social justice flashpoints in actual change that can happen.
Right. You know, sort of the economic inequality being
exactly. It's very specific. Yeah. It's very easy to point to actual people being hurt by it. It's very obvious in its classism.
Yeah.
Because cash bail is inherently classist in that this is the idea that if you get arrested, you're in jail, they're holding you until trial, and you can pay money to get let out of jail with the promise that you come back, right? Yeah. And the money that you spend is supposed to be, you're basically paying a ransom is what it is. Well, so this sort of legalized ransom.
One of the recent examples is Sam Bankman-Fried, who has got a $250 million bail. I think he had to put down $25 million to actually go home and hang with his parents or whatever. But that's an example. I mean,
that is an example.
Normal folks just can't cough up $25 million And
they usually don't. But, even a regular person who gets busted, I mean, there's a lot of levels to this, of course. If you're robbing somebody, that's not cool. If you're hurting somebody, but if you get enough parking tickets, that's another example, stuff like that. Just any situation where you might go to jail, be held, you can pay money and they'll let you go until your trial time, which, is pretty explicitly like, if you have money, you can get out of jail. If you don't have money, stay in the pokey, peasant. And this is where, bail bonds and things like this come in, where Dog the Bounty Hunter will come hunt you down if you don't show up. Stuff like that. You ever needed to post bail, Guns?
No.
Okay.
Have you?
The algorithm.
Okay, let's move on.
The algorithm called the Public Safety Assessment, PSA tool, was
horrible
developed.
Name.
Public
service announcement, public safety assessment. Come on.
Yeah. Was developed by Arnold Ventures, a philanthropy founded by billionaire John Arnold. I've never heard it phrased that way. A philanthropy founded by billionaire John Arnold and his wife Laura Arnold.
What did you do? I founded a philanthropy.
Advancing Pretrial Policy and Research, a project of the National Partnership for Pretrial Justice. It's supported by Arnold Ventures and assisted jurisdictions interested in implementing the PSA. Ugh, so boring. The assessment tool.
Wait, hold on. So a capital venture is backing this thing?
Of course it is.
So the rich people have the money are investing in a thing. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. And by the way, just to be clear, I have been a person to put up money for someone else's bail.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I have,
people in the chat. Well, what did Basil do? How long was he in the slammer?
Yes, I know. I can already
Where's
see
his
it happening.
tattoo?
I have come to the rescue of someone who needed bail money, and it is a pain in the butt, and it's very expensive. And they came to me because they didn't have the money. And if I didn't have the money, they would have just been stuck in jail forever until, their trial, which was a ways off. The assessment tool is free and has been implemented in more than 50 jurisdictions in states, cities, and counties around the country, according to sources involved in the development of risks assessment tools. According to those close to its creation, weird way to say that, how close? Why can't you just say the creator or whatever? Okay, just someone
because it's a lizard person. They can't release that information. It's someone close to the creation.
The PSA algorithm was formulated by analyzing 750,000 historical criminal cases around the country, which pinpoint 9 factors that best determine a set of critical pretrial questions. How likely would a released detainee be to appear in court for their trial, commit a new crime, and perpetrate a violent criminal act? And these are the things that are considered when a judge, sets bail. Is this an actual dangerous person?
Right.
Are they going to do more? Will they actually show up for trial? What's the deal here? So they kind of just algorithmatized that. Detainees are scored on a scale of 1 to 6 in what is called a release conditions matrix, according to creators of the PSA. And Gons, this is when it starts looking and feeling something pretty close to a social credit score. You're given a score of 1 to 6, depending on some factors here that will sort of determine some pre-crime. I don't know.
How are they determining this information exactly? What
Well,
prior offenses and that kind of stuff? Okay.
Yeah, it's a couple things. I'll get to it in a second here. It is then up to the jurisdiction to determine what happens to the charged individual based on their score. The PSA was never created to replace judges. Of course, Gons. We're not here to replace judges.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Decision makers in pretrial releases. Rather, it's another tool they can use when deciding to release a detainee before their trial, according to sources close to the development.
It's almost like there's those montages with news agencies where there's a talking point that gets distributed and everybody repeats it and they edit it down.
Yes.
We could probably do that with a lot of the robot or AI stories with the exact same template of, they're not here to replace blank. It's rather here to work with. It's a tool, another tool that they can use.
Exactly.
Seems to be very common in all this.
And you mix that with the sort of social credit score system. It's really looking quite beastie to me. So they have a chart here, and it's a chart. It's a government-based chart, so it's very boring. But on one hand, you have 6 squares along the top, 6 squares on the side. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Square 1 is 91% likely arrest-free. So and number 6 is 47% likely arrest-free. I don't know why these numbers are.
Yeah, it's weird.
But they are
tiered of numbers.
It's just based on whatever the big data is of the 750. Those are just the numbers that came out of that math, apparently. But it's basically, are you likely to get arrested again while you're out? And are you likely to come back to court? And if you
score low,
are a low number, that's
less
good.
Likely
they'll let
to
you go.
appear.
If you're high, or if you have a high number, or if you are high, they're probably less likely to let you back out. Now, they go into a very long discussion about cash bail and how it is racist. It is, how they don't really talk about classism. Of course, they talk about it in racism, which is a wonderful way to make this a left-right paradigm issue rather than an elite and, citizen issue. Because like we saw with Sam Bankman-Fried, who was extraordinarily likely to disappear after posting bail. In fact, he may still disappear after posting bail. He has access to a lot of money. He has a lot of reasons to disappear. It's not like he's just going to play this one out. So because of all that, he has to pay a lot of money. Now he has access to that money, so he's still able to hit the bricks. But if somebody is in a certain socioeconomic class, whether or not they actually want to be a flight risk or leave or whatever, it doesn't matter, because if they don't have the money, then just nothing matters. It goes into some very deep social justice, like criminal history data. Here's a quote. When criminal history data, like the number of times somebody has previously been arrested or previously been convicted, is used to calculate a score, we know that people of color in the United States are more likely to have been arrested, more likely to live in over-policed communities, and more likely to have been convicted of a crime, Guevara said. Quote, so it means that there's racial bias baked into those tools. So they're even saying, even with this algorithm, there's racial bias, kind of baked right into it.
The woman they're quoting there, Megan Guevara, in the paragraph before, executive partner with the Pretrial Justice Institute, says she agrees that bail reform should change to a cashless system. That's what's interesting about that. Cashless system. But thinks the PSA tool is not the answer.
Pay it with your Bitcoin.
I think a bunch of people did that. But she thinks the PSA tool is not the answer because of the racial bias, and that's the quote you read there.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's been part of the issue, and or at least part of the conversation in the mainstream as being the issue. I don't know what is the solution to this. What are they proposing to make it better?
Well, what I think, and they don't really talk about it, but if you have the numbers on the bias, the racial bias, why not just add that into the math of the thing in the first place?
Yeah, account for the bias.
Account for the bias. Now, again,
well, that's math, Basil.
This is the problem.
More equations on top of equations. It makes it more difficult.
I mean, that's the only option there is. Yeah. But the point is, while the lawyer who is being created, the robo-lawyer who is being created specifically to help people who can't afford quality legal representation, got kicked out, you have this one being applied in over 50 places. I forgot, was it 50 states or was it 50 municipalities? This one's just going all over the place. They're just implementing it across the board, pretty easy with very little friction.
50 jurisdictions. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, 50 jurisdictions. So this one's making it everywhere. So I don't know. It's just it's an example, it's an update, but it's also an answer to the prediction of, if AI is going to be used in the courtroom, it's going to strongly have to, be.
Venture capital money probably helps too. That other guy
certainly helps.
The other guy's probably independent guy trying to get a GoFundMe to get a robot lawyer. They're like, get lost. We're going to put you in jail if you try to do this. But venture capitalist comes along. They're like, hey, 50 municipalities or whatever, jurisdictions. Let's go.
And that does beg the question, because venture capitalist money only goes into something because they think they can make money.
They can make money.
So what is the monetization of this algorithm? That's the real question. You can
arrest a bunch of white people. Quota arrest of white people. If you want to make things equitable, you better watch out, Basil.
I am sure there is some sort of big data thing going on here. Selling, 100%. What are they going to do? Sell court data, sell something? I don't know. Yeah. What's the catch here? I don't know what it is, but once again, Silicon Valley and big data, venture capitalist money, they'll get into any business they possibly can, and they'll use social justice as the justification for it. And then they'll make billions. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of making billions,
something we're not doing for sure.
You should thank some producers.
Well, before we do that, we should party, which is what producers should do.
Wow.
Go to canarycry.party. Put it in your URL. There you will find a tree of links to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, subscribe, how to produce the show, how to connect with us and the entire community.
That's right. Go check it out. canarycry.party. You'll see there right at the top. You can join the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. You'll want to do it. It's a very important thing. It might be the most important thing anybody can do in a life besides, saving their souls and getting married and having children. Joining the Canary Cry T-shirt Council is right up there with those things. And with that, let's thank some producers.
It's break time.
That's right. We're on the value for value model.
Oh.
We take no. What?
You are missing from video.
Oh, sorry. Here I am. We're on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever. That might not mean a whole lot to you right now, but I promise you, if you sit and think and open your eyes to the consequences of that all around you, it will start to make sense, and you will start to become passionate about how your independent media is paying the bills. Are they taking money from corporations? Are they taking money from grants? What masters do they serve is maybe a better way to phrase that question. But here, we're entirely funded by listeners of the show, just like you, in a lot of different ways. Like I said, some people give with their talent, make art. Some people give with their time. They help us with all sorts of volunteer activities. And some people help with their treasure, making sure that we can keep the lights on, the babies fed, and the cats groomed here. Just kidding. We don't pay for cat grooming. That's crazy. But we do call them producers, and so we're going to thank some producers right now. Okay. We already thanked our executive producer for today's show. That's executive producer Pocojo. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
So we're going to thank some others. We're going to start by thanking one more extremely important person who just came in to join the Canary Cry T-shirt Council just during the episode. That's right. Listen up, everybody. The most important person you have ever heard of is about to be announced, and we'll do that right now. The new member of the illustrious Canary Cry T-shirt Council is producer Kyle I.
Kyle I. Thank you very much.
Right. I think that might be Killsport. I think, if I remember correctly, in the database of names and usernames. If I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm right, I'm also apologize. Thank you very much, Kyle I. Your medal is in the mail. Your crown is waiting in heaven, and we very much appreciate your support of the show, and we hope you like the shirt. And other than that, we've got some people to thank for joining the supply drop.
Ooh, supply drop. Here we go.
Supply drop. That's right. Canary Cry Supply Drop, another fun way to support the show. You want cool Canary Cry news talk gear. You want to support the show. You want to join the family, and you want to be responsible for keeping quality independent media on the air. And you can do that by supporting this show for $33.33 a month. And when you do, we will start sending you loads of cool gear every quarter. It is designed by producers of the show, the artists. It is, I don't know, it's just the coolest possible thing you could do. Go to canarycrysupply.com for info. We got a couple people that joined up over the weekend, and I want to thank them right now.
Okay.
We're going to start with our new supply dropper producer, Sabrina H.
Sabrina H. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We also have supply drop producer Yanina Y.
Yanina Y. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Came in on the Patreon. Appreciate that. And last but not least, we have producer Dwight B coming in.
Dwight B again, huh?
Again, yes. Wow. And Dwight B, what a treasure Dwight is, because Dwight B was actually grandfathered in from the 2021 price for the supply drop, which was $20.22, which that still holds if you came in there. But on his own recognizance, Dwight has upgraded to the full $33.33 just because he's a good guy, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go. Thank you very much. You're going to really enjoy the supply drop. I know you will. And everybody else, if you want to support the show. And now, this will answer the question. I saw this asked in the chat. The T-shirt Council and the supply drop are two separate things. If you are in the supply drop, you will not receive the shirts. They are two separate programs because the supply drop has an entirely different set of things that are going out. Now, of course, you can join both if that's what you want. But yes, if you are signed up for the supply drop, you will not receive the shirts. It is a separate program. It's partially because it was designed specifically as a cheaper option for people who wanted to support the show on a monthly basis and still get something cool. So there you go. All right. We've got a short list today of some regular producers. Gonz, you ready?
Yeah, let's thank the supply droppers here.
Yes.
All right.
That's right. It's kind of funny. The producers were so supportive when you had your COVID break there, which was really heartwarming. But I think people are taking a break right now. Yeah. So we're starting with producer Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots.
Sir Moore, thank you very much.
He's on a 191 episode streak. Comes in with the 1111. Thank you, Sir Moore.
Thank you, Sir Moore.
I think this is the only other person. We have Sir Alex Protocol, V2 Night of the Berean Protocol, 136 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol.
That's right. Appreciate your guys' continued and faithful support. And I'm going to do just a quick refresh Yeah, because it seems to be that is the entire list of producers who came in the amount of $7 or 77 cents or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. That might officially be the shortest list ever.
Right,
I know we had hit 3 before. But 2 is a new record.
You might have to start selling waffle makers.
Everybody loves waffles.
You see, this is why the T-shirt council and the supply drop are so important. That's the whole.
Well, maybe
point.
That's what's happening too. Maybe people are jumping on the T-shirt
possible.
council, and
it's possible. I mean, Rab is a T-shirt council guy. He supported last episode. It's just, we live our life episode to episode.
Oh,
here. This is just how things go.
Living on the edge.
So the monthly producers really help us live this stressful life of episode to episode. But we got some other wonderful producers who came in under the amount of 777, and we'll thank them now.
Okay.
This the Streak Squad here. We got Dame Gail, Canary Whisperer of Ladies and blah, blah, blah. Hold on. Let me go at it again. Dame Gail, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
There she is.
There we go. 222 episodes in a row.
Thank you very much, Dame Gail.
Do we have a special jingle for 222? It seems like we would have, maybe.
Looks like 250 is the next.
We didn't have one for 223 because 223 was 322 backward. I think we did have one for 223.
Somebody did something.
We'll have to find it before next episode. Okay. Thank you, Dame Gail. Next up, we have Runk Smash, who's on an 8-episode streak.
Runk Smash, thank you very much.
We have Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 258 episodes in a row.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, thank you.
We have Veronica D on a 222 streak.
Veronica D on a 222 streak. Thank you.
We got Doctor Who Done Dat, 23 episodes in a row.
Doctor Who Done That, thank you very much.
And we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 247.
Sir Scott, thank you.
Here we go. Okay, that concludes the list of financial supporters for this episode 587 of Canary Cry News Talk. Thank you all so much. And if you're out there and the value for value model makes sense to you, if this show brings any value to your life, please pray about it. Consider producing the show in any myriad of ways. And you can learn more by going to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support. Let me properly thank the streakers before we thank them for their patronage.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
There we go.
Very nice. All right, let's thank you.
Take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
All right, I keep running over you.
It's okay.
Power of the jingle.
Getting back on track here.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
What are we talking about?
Oh, man, this is so fun. I feel like I've been kind of dominating this episode, so why don't you take it?
Okay.
We're talking about COVID and masks.
Oh, COVID and masks.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, here we go. COVID.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. 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 Coronavirus. I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
Yeah. wear a mask. Because, according to dailymail.co.uk, exclusive, unattractive people are more likely to keep wearing face masks in post-COVID era. Study suggests.
A study. I love how there's a study.
I thought we're trying to be equitable here. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
This is the equity. Quantify. This is equity. You got to be able to wear a mask because of your sad face.
Attractive people are less likely to keep wearing face masks in the post-COVID era, a study suggests. Researchers conducted 3 questionnaires asking people about self-perceived attractiveness and mask-wearing intentions in various scenarios. They concluded that young and middle-aged Americans who view themselves as attractive, quote, believe wearing a mask hinders the opportunity to deliver a favorable impression to others. On the other hand, people who do not view themselves as attractive buy into the, quote, mask attractiveness belief that face coverings actually enhance their looks.
Yeah, do you remember that?
I do.
That was a big thing for a while. There's like TikToks and influencers, and they're all talking about how it makes your eyes look so mysterious and you're so
it leaves a lot to the imagination.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
It comes after a major analysis found face masks made little to no difference to COVID infections or death rates. There it is. Initially used for antiviral protection, the face mask has become one of the symbols of a fierce culture war in the U.S.
Talisman.
Talisman, as stated by the
British medical, was it BMJ?
I think so. Was it BMJ?
It was the BMJ.
Or I think it was, I'm forgetting it now, but yeah, it was a major publication.
We have it in our files. I believe it was in the BMJ.
J something. I'm seeing a J. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've lost my mind. I forget now, but it was one of the bigger institutes.
We know it. We've talked about the talismanian aspect of masks.
There's never been great evidence showing that masks are effective at preventing infections on a large scale, but that has not stopped officials from mandating them across the country. Listen to Daily Mail. Look at that.
I know.
Schools in Democrat states. Okay, dailymail.co.uk. Schools in Democrat states made face coverings an entry requirement for students as recently as this month. And the CDC still recommends Americans wear them in places with high transmission levels like public transport. Elderly Americans and patients with compromised immune systems, probably likely to the job, are also encouraged to take precautions like wearing masks. Even though President Joe Biden declared the COVID pandemic over late last year, as many as 4 in 10 Americans still wear masks occasionally. Researchers from Seoul National University in South Korea wanted to see if self-perceived attractiveness played a role in people's mask-wearing intentions. They carried out 3 experiments on Americans recruited from Amazon Mechanical Turk, crowdsourcing website for businesses. Okay. The average age of all 3 studies was 33 years old.
Ding, ding, ding.
And men made up roughly 44% of each study population. The team's most noteworthy findings arose from their 3rd study. Study 3 involved 442 people, half of whom were told they were going to walk the dog, and the other half were told they were going to a job interview. They were asked, in this scenario, do you think others will perceive you as more attractive with a face mask? They were also asked, how much do you want to make a good first impression on others? People who had a job interview to go to cared more about whether wearing a mask affected their facial attractiveness. For the initial study, researchers involved 244 people. Okay, we get it.
It's Daily Mail. It's what they do.
Yeah, they just keep going around and
scored
round.
their facial attractiveness before being asked to imagine a scenario in which they are invited for a job interview at a company they really like. Ooh. They were asked to answer the following questions. Do you think the interview... We should do these now, Cons. Here, let's do it. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you the quiz. Okay. Do you think the interviewers will perceive you as more attractive with a face mask, Gons?
No.
If wearing a face mask is optional in this interview session, would you wear a mask during the company interview?
Say that one more time.
If wearing a face mask is optional in this interview session, would you wear a face mask during the company interview?
No.
Well, then you must be one attractive boy, Gonzo. We got old Cabana Boy with that chiseled jawline, that smoky look in his eye. People who scored themselves as very attractive were less likely to answer yes. They were also less likely to endorse the belief that mask wearing enhances their appearance.
Endorse the belief, huh?
Endorse the belief that mask... What a strange thing for anybody to endorse. Mask wearing enhances your appearance, which further dampened their mask wearing intention in job interviews. In an intervening study, 344 people who imagined themselves interviewing for a job at a well-respected company were asked, do you think the interviewers will perceive you as more trustworthy, competent / attractive with a face mask? People who answered yes to those questions were more apt to wear a mask in the interview.
The last quote here is what's I thought was interesting as well. It says, our findings suggest that mask wearing can shift from a self-protection measure, which the article just stated how doesn't really do anything for self-protection during the COVID-19 pandemic, to a self-presentation tactic in the post-pandemic era. So, yeah.
Well, isn't that really, I mean, honestly, and anybody who can remember those days so long ago, I mean, the mask was almost always a self-presentation tactic.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the talisman was all about. That's why it was written like that in the British Medical Journal. It was a symbol that you're part of the crew. You're on the right side of history wearing your mask. And that's why if somebody saw somebody not wearing a mask, they're like, oh, they're a Trump supporter or a domestic terrorist of some kind.
Right.
No, they were just attractive. That's what we all found out just now. They were all you non-mask wearers are so good looking.
I'm still trying to remember, because I don't think it was the BMJ. I remember there being a J in the name.
This is a pointless way to spend time on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
I believe it was the BMJ.
Be accurate. Trying to be accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's okay. We don't have to.
You want to search for it? You want to do some research?
No, it's okay. I think people.
Well, you'll have plenty of time. You'll have plenty of time to pull it up. Because let's talk about some pharmakia.
Oh, that's right. Okay, here we go. Pharmakia, the drugs.
Pharmakia. I almost think we should give a short rundown of pharmakia for new people.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I can give the shortest rundown possible, but if you have anything to expound upon, just in case there's new people, of course, lots of our people know what we're talking about. But pharmakia is the word in the original languages of the Bible. I believe is in the Greek section that represented. It was the closest thing to what we would call medicine now, but it also had connotations of magic, of
right.
I don't know if it was quite as far as witchcraft, but it was sort of the practice of using substances not only to heal or to do things like this, but there is a very spiritual aspect to it. And it was...
Real quick. Yes. I did find the article, The Masking. It's New England Journal of Medicine. That's what it was.
New England Journal of Medicine.
NEJM. So, yeah.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Well, you want to talk about pharmakia a little bit more? I don't have the biblical reference right up in front of me, so I was going to do that while we do this. Now, nowadays, pharmakia is associated with lots of things. Again, still medicine, but also in a lot of cases drugs, and that's because that's kind of part of what it was. Pharmakia includes now in conversations today things like drugs, psilocybin mushrooms, psychoactive things. Depending on how broad or how narrow you discuss pharmakia, things as simple as Advil may count as pharmakia. This is sort of an ongoing conversation going on. But the Bible also had some references to pharmakia and how it should be approached or perhaps even not approached. And we'll see if I've stalled long enough for Gons to pull up the references.
If the internet works quicker, it would definitely be up sooner. But it has to do with Revelation, I believe it's in 18, if I'm not mistaken. I keep having a problem with the search of the Bible app here. So, but it talks about the souls of men being sold along with a bunch of other goods. And
the merchants of the world,
right? Merchants of Babylon.
Yes, merchants of Babylon, and what, they were sort of partnering with the magicians or something like that.
Yes. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it is Revelation 18, verse 23. Talks about the destruction of Babylon there. The light of a lamp will never shine in you again. This is at the destruction again. And the voices of a mystery Babylon, more specifically, will never shine in you again. And the voice of a bride and bridegroom will never call out in you again. For your merchants were the great ones of the earth, because all the nations were deceived by your sorcery.
Yes.
And that word sorcery is pharmakia.
Pharmakia. Yes. Pharmakia in the translations, specifically in Galatians 5, Revelations 9 and 18, they're translated as sorcery or magic. And there's a lot of discussion about, is the New Testament calling all medicine, bad? Is it talking about, there's a lot of discussion here.
Sure.
But included in the pharmakia discussion of sorcery and magic and things like that are things like magic mushrooms, drugs of all kind, including pharmaceuticals. But here at Wired. Excuse me. Show burps are here. Wired.com headline: MDMA and psilocybin are approved as medicines for the first time. Australia has announced it will officially recognize MDMA and psilocybin as medicines. On February 3rd, Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration, the TGA, the government authority responsible for regulating medicines, announced that starting July 1st, 2023, authorized psychiatrists will be able to prescribe MDMA for the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, for treatment-resistant depression. Because the TGA has yet to approve any actual medicines that contain MDMA or psilocybin, patients will be initially receiving, quote, unapproved medicines containing the substances.
Emergency use authorization.
It's
an emergency. We need an emergency, a psychosis of the masses.
It's actually even more fun than that, because EUA would mean that a company already has a synthetic form where they don't have that, ready to go. So what they're basically saying is you just get it on the street. You get your magic mushrooms from Dale down at the bong shop.
Oh, great.
The decision came as a big surprise, and it goes into why this was such a surprise. Surprise, it was a surprise. It also discusses how Australia has not quite figured out exactly how to approve certain psychiatrists to get the all clear to prescribe these things.
Psychiatrists are like shamans now.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. So there's a lot of critique because there's no system in place. There's no official source for these things, like source of the shrooms or the MDMA.
Right.
Psychiatrists, they're just now kind of having to throw together.
Got to give them the lab grown, the pure stuff from the lab, man.
Sure. Training standards and protocols about when to prescribe these things. Now they've still got about 6 months, 5 months. 6 months until until this happens. Yeah. So somebody's going to be throwing together these protocols.
Of course.
Yeah. There is this other interesting little mention here. Another barrier to access. So it just talks about the psychiatrists, psychologists needing qualifications, and they mention how, shamans have been doing this for centuries, and the psychiatrists are going to need to take training from indigenous medicine men, stuff like that. Another barrier to access will likely be cost. The treatments won't be covered by health insurance. Oh no. Now,
that'll be the day, huh? Hey, wife. Yeah,
the health insurance covers your Molly.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a good point. It's an interesting part of the conversation because, look, MDMA and shrooms, just saying, I don't think they're very expensive comparatively to if.
How dare you? How dare all the people in third world nations who barely have access to food and water? How dare you?
That's a good point. Now, it's been a while, but back in the day, you could get a decent bag of shrooms for like $20 or something. You can bet that if the big pharma companies get their hands on it, which they already are,
prices
we've been talking
down,
about this
baby.
for years, prices are going to skyrocket.
Oh,
it's going to be super expensive.
Oh yeah, the official stuff, the stuff on the street.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yes, right. I'm saying the pharmaceutical grade stuff is going to be expensive.
Right.
All right. Another barrier to access will likely be cost. The treatments won't be covered by health insurance. So, quote, that's probably initially going to be a therapy for relatively well-off people who have these conditions.
Okay.
Don't think so, Perkins. Some worry that Australia might be putting the cart before the horse in terms of safety and long-term effects of these treatments. Quote, we haven't even looked at any longer-term data yet, says Ruffle. Quote, the longest data we have is 12 months. We don't really know what happens later down the line.
Hey,
look,
great application. I don't know why they didn't use it for some other jabby jabs there, but you know.
Yeah, when has that stopped you guys before? Especially Australia.
All of a sudden now they're like, well, we don't have long-term info. It's like, well, yeah, we didn't have any long-term info on mRNA shots, but you guys were all, hey, you better get them.
Right. Australia should be putting people in FEMA camps and dosing them in order to go to work. Mostly, there's a sense of surprise that Australia is first off the mark. At the beginning of 2023, Oregon became the first U.S. state to allow adult use of psilocybin, quote, under the supervision of state-certified facilitator, though the substance remains an unapproved investigational drug in the U.S. for now. It's been predicted that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration will approve MDMA for the treatment of PTSD in 2024. And it goes on, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. It is officially, for the first time ever, being classified as an official medicine in Australia. And everybody is surprised as Australians that they are the first to do it, especially since they just in December of last year voted to not downgrade the classification of mushrooms. So it's kind of out of nowhere.
Well, they probably realized
this change took place.
They created so much post-traumatic stress disorder during the lockdowns. They need something to counter.
That's a funny joke and probably absolutely true.
Yeah,
they totally traumatized so many of their people, and now what a great problem reaction solution, Hegelian dialectic for them to suddenly turn around and give everybody shrooms. Yeah. So that brings us to this next one. This is coming from religionnews.com. Dun, dun, dun. RNS, Religion News Service. So vague, so religious. Religion News. The headline here, Psychedelic Chaplains. In clinical trials, a new form of spiritual guide emerges. Yes, and it opens up with this story of Moana Meadows, who was 22, and her mother died, and she had a grandmother, yes, had a situation where she saw her grandmother die, and then she went on to become an interfaith chaplain to help other families who had dying people. Now, the hospice chaplain is interested in helping people through other transitions, the perceptual changes brought on by psychedelic drugs. Quote, being with people in altered states of consciousness can be similar to pivotal moments like marriage, childbirth, or death, Meadow said, and she is on a mission to bridge chaplaincy, the work of accompanying people who are under the influence of psychedelics. Quote, psychedelic experiences, particularly at higher doses, can feel like dying, said Sam Shenkoff, assistant professor of Jewish studies at Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, California. Quote, one can feel as if they're being born. One can feel a sense of existential rupture. To have a chaplain there who maybe has a lot of experience with sitting with people who are facing death, that can be really applicable to accompanying people who are having these experiences with psychedelics. So when they talk about chaplains, they're talking about actual chaplains.
Right.
Now, I've been in the church and been in church leadership for quite some time. I was never an official chaplain, but I did work in some chaplaincy things in the community. And this can include, prison chaplains, hospital chaplains, things like this. It's sort of a friendly secular word to have a religious person on site somewhere.
Right.
Since the mid-aughts, a tidal wave of scientific research on psychedelics has flooded academic journals with evidence that these substances may be able to provide relief from everything from smoking addiction to anxiety and depression. These benefits arise, at least in part, some psychedelic researchers argue, from the mystical or spiritual encounters the drugs can induce. So a chaplain who is a sort of secularly accepted individual in a hospital or in any situation, yet the army, has chaplains, everybody's got chaplains. It's coming to the point where the use of psychedelics is becoming so popular, so close to being, what's the word? I don't know, legitimized by the establishment.
Yeah.
And the recognition that psychedelics are sort of a push-button spiritual experience is connecting the work that chaplains are already doing with people in these situations, like death of a loved one or whatever. It's like the job description is just getting tweaked just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Where now psychedelic chaplain is becoming sort of a legit.
Look, psychedelics is not going to replace the chaplain. It's just a tool that can be used by the chaplains.
Right. Well, I mean, they are specifically becoming qualified psychedelic chaplains.
Yeah, psychedelic facilitators, it looks like it says here.
Right. As a result, academic institutions across the U.S. are launching training programs in which spiritual practitioners can become qualified psychedelic facilitators, paving the way for a new field of psychedelic chaplaincy. And the reason I think this is big for a lot of reasons, but it's also interesting because, as we just read in Australia, it's all about the psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. It's science, it's medicine. And alongside paralleling this development of psychiatrists being able to dispense psychedelic drugs, you also now have sort of the spiritual side. It's a professional spiritual facilitator of psychedelics. Mm-hmm. Are you following?
Yeah. I'm saying it's coming full circle. It's almost like
exactly.
They've gone so science that the science is reaching the non-science, but then it's becoming spiritualized. And it's interesting.
That's exactly right. It's the secularized spirituality of psychedelics that has now created a job description at least, where the formerly specific faith practitioners can now be recognized as sort of secular faith practitioners as well. Mm. And it tells a couple stories about the Reverend Caroline Peacock, an ordained Episcopal priest and a chaplain for Emory Healthcare in Atlanta, will be serving as a spiritual health clinician listen to that again, spiritual health clinician in a clinical trial assessing whether psilocybin might help treat anxiety, depression, chronic pain experienced by cancer survivors. In these settings, psychedelic chaplains are asked to provide spiritual care for clients before, during, and after a psychedelic dose, aiding them as they work to elicit meaning from experience. So even inside of the scientific establishment, the clinical trials to test if psychedelics can help cancer patients deal with the whole situation, as an employee of the scientific experiment is a psychedelic chaplain.
Have we talked about the horrible acronym of this Multidisciplinary Association
MAPS.
For Psychedelic Studies?
Yes, there's two MAPS in the world. One MAPS is Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and the other MAPS is, what is it? Men attracted to
prepubescent something. I forget what it is.
Yes, it's a pedophile organization. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for I guess both of them. I don't even know. Quote, some of the questions psychedelic chaplaincy is bringing to the table are some of the oldest questions of all, said Shankoff, who pointed out that indigenous shamans, medicine women, and elders have been doing this work for centuries, but the presence of a psychedelic chaplain on these scientific teams is something new. Jamie Beachy, a chaplain by training and the director of education for the Center of Psychedelic Studies at Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, joined a study looking at MDMA, also known as the recreational drug ecstasy, as an aid for treatment-resistant post-traumatic stress disorder. The research, led by the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, notice how they don't parenthetical the maps.
Yeah, they don't.
Except
they do in the photo. The photo caption, yeah.
Oh, the caption, right.
Yeah.
Shows that, that's them at Burning Man, probably, is what it looks like. Oh, no, maps.
It looks like a temple.
That's funny. Yeah, that's the MAPS Center in Colorado. Where was I? The Association for Psychedelic Studies shows that 67% of participants taking MDMA no longer meet the criteria for PTSD, compared with 32% of participants in the placebo group. Very interesting. And then I just got some quotes in here. Let me see. There's one last. Then they tell us a bunch of stories of a lot of people. They talk about the decriminalization of psychedelics happening around the world. Some more quotes. About this,
quotes and articles, really?
Having beautiful potential. They do recognize some of the dangers of this, which is you have to do with psychedelic articles, the safety risks. Currently, there's no standard, and here's what I thought was interesting. Currently, there's no standard pathway for becoming a psychedelic chaplain. Beachy would like to see more non-degree programs, like Naropa's, be complemented by a national advanced certification for psychedelic chaplains, similar to those that certify chaplains in palliative care or ethics consultation. The first wave of psychedelic chaplains is already here. However, reconnecting the link between psychedelics and religion, as science reconnects the link between the drugs and health. Quote, psychedelics have traditionally been medicines that were used for spiritual growth, healing, and prayer, said Meadow. Quote, if we're not thinking about them in that way, we are missing something very important. So I think the full circle aspect that you mentioned is one of the bigger points here. You have we've talked about the re-enchantment of secular society, where you have large sections of society who consider themselves secular and non-religious and maybe even spiritual, but certainly, not woo-woo type of stuff. You have that aspect of society almost gaining a new priest class in a way. I don't know, because you have scientism, where you have the priests being the scientists,
Yeah, it's probably the closest
such
bridge.
A draw.
I was gonna say it's probably like the closest thing to acknowledging some kind of transcendence or supernaturalism as built into the human experience in a sense, and it is sort of
right.
The pathway, the avenue towards a supernatural worldview, which Chris Putnam wrote about. They had a whole book called Supernatural, where he talked about how it's bringing it's the re-enchantment idea that Carl Teichgreb talks about. It's bringing back the spiritualism.
I was going to bring up Carl Teichgreb. Of course, I've talked to him a few times in recently because of Burning Man stuff. But that's the Burning Man connection. That's why the Burning Man research we've done for many years fits so directly into this, which is that it was almost like a training ground for these chaplains. Mm-hmm. Like you go there, they're very spiritual people, but of course they're not religious people. But they're also very scientific. But they're also into doing shrooms and recognize what kind of healing or something that can come from it. And if you've listened to this show for a decent amount of time, you've heard me talk about this plenty of times, and you know kind of where I stand with it. Number one, I am happy to hear that the government hasn't already created a sort of government program to regulate these types of things, including the chaplaincy, because the big fear with a government regulated psychedelic I don't know, protocol or something, is that people are put into such a influenceable state that it's a perfect time to literally brainwash people to love the state and whatever, or snitch on their neighbors.
I'm sure they would love to weave in, brought to you by Heiser, like right in the middle of an experience.
Yeah.
The height of their...
Totally.
The peak of their experience,
or
and
the
Heiser drops in.
Or the example even given to some of the critics who were, critiquing some of the research was even having somebody blasted on shrooms and leaving a Coca-Cola can in the room or something could be enough, to brainwash in one way or another. But yeah, it's very interesting. This is moving a lot faster than I ever expected it to. And the fact that the recognition, at least in the spiritual community on religionnews.com, is sort of hearkening a new class of spiritual worker, a spiritual leader, a clergy person, specifically for the new psychedelic religion that, of course, was sort of bore out of communities like Burning Man and made it all the way to Davos last year with the psychedelic shaman at Davos.
Yeah.
So it's just a very interesting place. And you combine that with the sort of AI spirituality being, promoted and talked about in popular circles. There's a extraordinarily fascinating current moving through, society, starting in sort of the weird subcultures like tech and burning men and women, burners, whatever, and now making it to what could possibly look something like a universal religion.
And it feels like they're prepping for us to either through virtual reality or augmented reality or some kind of psychedelic experience, meet the aliens.
Aliens?
Because where are they?
Where are the aliens?
I'll tell you where they are. According to the Jerusalem Post, aliens will take over all governments in May 2023. Just a few months away, Basil. 3 months. TikTok time traveler says. So now we got TikTok being mentioned as part of the
another one of these guys
main conversation by a Jerusalem Post, which is something to be said. Why is... Remember when you and I were like, what, tweets are just news now?
Yeah.
Well, now TikToks are just, of course, this has been happening for a while, but Jerusalem Post really picking out the topics for some reason that they all want us to consider here, which, by the way, in Jerusalem Post, we've seen a lot of rabbis and stuff talk about how they're the extraterrestrials here to enlighten and things of that nature. But we won't get into that. Let's see what this article says. A TikTok star and self-proclaimed time traveler, is that you, Basil? Oh, no, you're not a TikTok star. Has made a bold prediction about the future. Aliens are coming, and they will take over all the world's governments on May 11th, 2023.
Ooh, date setter.
This guy's
nice.
Yeah, talk about false prophets. The supposed time traveler in question, Ari Yormani, at Aesthetic Time Warper, who claims to hail from 2174, has gained a following of over 1.2 million people on TikTok, also on YouTube, but with just over 1,000 subscribers and only one video at the time of writing. Yeah, because no engagement on YouTube.
That's interesting. I mean, that shows just how much you can just do TikTok.
Yeah.
You don't need any of the other platforms.
With their seemingly ludicrous claims of future events fueled by supposed future knowledge, turning him into a modern-day Nostradamus. They got a video here. We're not going to play the video. It's not really that big of a deal. Among the claims in one such video made on January 21st is that an alien race known as the Nozics, Nozics, will begin infiltrating all of the Earth's governments sometime in 2023, a date that was earlier specified in a January 18th video as being May 11th. This will be followed up by the discovery of the Serene Croin, the world's largest creature, 4 times larger than the blue whale, something that contradicts an earlier video where he claims the world's largest animal will be found on November 6, 2023. New information, guy. and will be just 3 times the size of a blue whale. Okay, whatever. A massive 9.9 magnitude earthquake known as the Big One, sinking California into the Pacific Ocean. That's a classic one. Although, I don't know. The Turkey earthquake, maybe there's something to that. The sun emitting a very strange energy glow that makes all plants grow 3 or 4 times larger. Humans landing on Mars and constructing a city in 2025. Wait, back up. What about the aliens? Hold on. That's what the article says here.
Oh, how creative.
Yeah, it's very creative. What happened? My little thing, my cursor disappeared here. Where did it go? Oh no. What happened? That's so weird. Wait, back up. What aliens? This isn't the first time Yormany has brought up aliens, and specifically this species or nationality known as the Naziks. That goes into some stuff that he's mentioned before about the Naziks. But here's a few more lists of things that he says is going to happen, which I thought was interesting. Inevitable conflict with the Nazik aliens. The discovery of the world's largest animal. We've already mentioned that. The discovery, this one was interesting, of another world in the Amazon in South America, complete with another species of humans. Yeah. The emergence of a highly contagious Vorsen X, the first disease released from the ice caps. There's your Antarctica right there. ChatGPT being banned in the U.S. on February 17th, 2023, causing many people to fail classes. A mega tsunami in San Francisco. Oh, here's the stuff that if he does hit on some weird things, this could be it. Maybe too soon. Maybe the year is off or something. Baby being born with new organs and body parts, such as a tail, on April 28th, 2023. Yeah.
That's
that kind of
soon.
stuff.
That's pretty soon.
There's also a human in Chinese Mutant, an actual real animal resembling a deer that lives in China, Taiwan, and UK, Ireland, and parts of Europe, having children together on June 30th, 2022.
Great.
Before. A mirrored solar system of Earth found 8 light years away. Though it's
a mirrored solar system of Earth.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense,
No.
but okay.
A new species, almost exactly like humans, found living in mountain caves. And Russia breaking through to the underground worlds.
And this is all happening this year?
I think so. I think this
These
is part
are
of all of this.
You gotta give them respect for calling all these shots in 1 year, and all in very measurable prediction times. He's really putting it out.
This
there.
guy's even promoting a little tour for those now curious to see what the future is like. Maybe you're in luck. Yormany says they will take 6 people with them to the future on April 30th, 2023.
That's
there,
nice.
They will see the reality of 2174, a time when there is no more Earth. Of course there's no more Earth. Haven't you seen all the predictive programming? Quote, humans, and no more humans, just hybrids between different species. Hello. Perhaps that's the explanation for his since-deleted video that, according to a report in Indy 100, contained COVID-19 vaccine misinformation.
Oh,
no. However, one thing that is undeniably true about the sheer level of popularity Yormany has managed to accrue is that people are fascinated by predictions of the future, especially the extremely wild stuff like aliens, pandemics, and catastrophes. It's part of why Nostradamus' prophecies are still so popular today. Maybe Yormany will be just as off as their 15th century predecessor. All right. Well, they tried anyway. I still don't understand why they're even making this a story. Is it just because they have 1 million followers on TikTok? Is that the big deal?
Must be. I mean, what a strange thing for the Jerusalem Post to be doing.
It's a very bizarre thing. There's also another part of the AI conversation. This is Axios, machine learning to find learned aliens, which I think is a weird headline, but
learned aliens.
Yeah, machine learning could aid in the search for signs of intelligent life, aliens, or intelligent alien life in the universe, according to a study published Monday. And this is a topic that I've been talking about for a long time because, as we get as society relies more and more on AI and algorithms to sort of figure things out for us. Once they say, oh, hey, look, intelligent aliens are over there. We found them. They're showing themselves through the machine learning algos. Then it's over. I mean, it doesn't even matter if they exist or not. It's like we're going to have the giant alien psyop where people are going to be stoked about, oh, we found them. We actually found the aliens. And then you can open up a metaverse where you can actually interact. You know, they just got to interface to the right servers. Mm-hmm. And then now you have a situation where a portal is opened and, you know, we're fully in the days of Noah.
Party time, baby.
Party time. But, you know, I just think it's interesting that the whole alien conversation is still being propagated, and especially when it comes to the Jerusalem Post reporting on a TikToker. Something is up. Something smells rotten.
Well, you do know that the future of humanity will all be broadcast through TikTok. Well, it makes me wonder what if the CCP has anything to do with it.
Oh, maybe.
Like what agenda is being served? Because you know they got the hot button or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
You know, where they can control what goes viral, what doesn't.
Yeah.
This seems to not be that different from any other sort of online time traveler guy that we've seen. I mean, there's
somehow this guy got the boost.
He got the boost.
Got the button.
What message? You gotta see. That's what the Jerusalem Post should be doing here, is kind of parsing through, seeing what is the CCP trying to program into American teenagers or American young people, and what does that have anything to do with the balloon? Where's the balloon? Is it the alien spacecraft? Is it what?
Well, there were people on the Twitterverse there talking about how the balloon is a UFO. It's just they're covering it up. It's our it's our Roswell. It's just a weather balloon.
Yeah.
But this is very interesting. We'll keep track.
Speaking of creators, we should check in with some very talented producers who created some stuff for the show.
Break.
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but
become the content. Become the content.
Take a break.
This is our break where we thank producers who contribute with their God-given talent. If you get value out of the show, you can provide value back by helping us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that you make whatever you make about the show. We're going to start off with SpeakPipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com, any of the pages on the canarycrynewstalk.com website, and you'll see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. It'll open up a little window that allows you to record a message of up to 90 seconds, and we shall receive it. And let us know if you want us to play it on air, but if not, then you give us the right to play it or not. Doesn't matter. What?
Nothing.
We have a message here from Modern Day Bible Study.
Hi, Canary Cry listeners. Life is precious, and we need to cherish our existence. Something arose to my attention the other day, and I can finally find the words to say. In Lord of the Rings, there is a character who is obsessed with his precious. This actual word precious means of great value, not to be wasted or treated carelessly. Being troubled by the abuse to this powerful word, tarnishing its reputation in today's society by his famous saying, feels the need to give this explanation. The ring represents temptation, where the creature in the deep holds the power of man in a materialistic form, tempting man into giving up life for its power. However, man was able to destroy this mystical metal, which still melts in the lava, along with the unrighteous deeds. And woman was the only one to diminish its evil creator. The journey it took to destroy the metal temptation was worth more than the power over man, redeeming the true meaning of precious, as our Savior showed us, by giving up his precious life to our Creator in order to be with all in everlasting life, which no ring can possess. May you cherish the precious moments in the darkest times and stay positive in this challenging life. bringing you extra energy to your weekend with Basil and Gons. And remember, think outside the cage.
All right. Thank you very much, Modern Day
fun.
Bible Study. Very much a modern feel to Bible study. Very cool.
Oh, I loved it. That was great. Thank you very much, Modern Day Bible Study.
Thank you. All right. Let's do some audio production.
Audio production.
Got one from Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
You heard it earlier. He said, "Hello, guys. I thought these few audio bites would be a perfect sum up of the spineless leadership when it comes to securing the country. Anyways, enjoying. God bless."
You said that this is violating our airspace, so why not take it down?
Yeah, so, clearly as we assess options and considering the size of the payload on this, looking at the potential for debris and the impact on civilians on the ground or property damage.
Please describe America to me in one single word.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was the foothills of the...
Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. All right, we're going to do some art.
One art, please.
We kick it off with Sir Dove.
One art, please, from Dove.
Got a note. It says, "Peace for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Proverbs 16:9. A man's heart plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins." Duh.
That's right. And indeed you did. We've got a photo of sort of a backyard staircase thing. There's lots of sort of overgrown plants, sort of one of these staircases in a hilly neighborhood for all the neighbors to use there. And there's a heart struggling to climb the stairs. He's got his eye patch, his eyebrow scar, his goatee. It's the evil heart. The Dove evil heart, looking good. And on the top here, we've got the context for this poor little guy. It says, "A man's heart plans his course, but the Lord orders his steps." And look at that. I can even read this cool font. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Beautifully done.
Appreciate it. Moving on here. We got one from Sleep Maximalist. Interesting name there. Sleep Maximalist.
I like it.
I think I was a sleep maximalist at one point.
I think I am right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a note. It says, "Came to Canary Cry via the Age of Deceit movies. God bless both of you and all the producers and listeners." And so he gave us this. Actually, he's got two of them. This first one is Flippy. It's a Flippy.
It's a Tinder profile for
Tinder
Flippy.
profile. Is that what that?
And
okay.
The style is very, yeah, you wouldn't know.
No,
the style is very
it.
cool. It's like an inkwell pen. Those pens that you dip in ink and you can kind of then it does maybe some watercolor, some pastel with some water, something like that. It's a very cool sort of grungy but very artistic look. And he's got a yellow manufacturing looking Flippy, looking good, looking fly. The Tinder profile includes things like this: Flippy, 25 years old, branch manager at so where the job goes is branch manager, education MIT, location 2 kilometers away. There's always a Flippy 2 kilometers away. The bio reads, "Beep boop, robot emoji. I don't own fancy cars. I make fancy cars. Available 24/7. Then you can swipe right, swipe left on Flippy, and boy oh boy, is the world swiping right on Flippy." Thank you very much, Sleep Maximalist.
He has a second one. "Just swipe right. You want to." And it's actually a picture of Bender, and it says "Robot Sabotage."
I think the note you just read was for the Tinder one.
Was it?
Yes, this one is still very cool. It's a picture of Bender, again done in the same inkwell pen sort of style. Lots of smooches and smudges, kind of reminiscent of early Canary Cry branding there. It's got Bender looking very suspicious with a frame around him, and it does say robot sabotage. This reminds me, I don't know if it's a direct reference, but it reminds me of the article about the robot that got fired for slicing the tires.
Oh, wait, was that the one? Yeah, it's the one that got replaced by the human, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Fun. Thank you very much, Sleep Maximalist. Keep it going.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the style. It's very cool. We also have something from Pizza Rat. It's been a while since we got something from Pizza Rat. He says, I know you have a portal, but I'm not sure where it is and how to use it.
The art portal, yes. I think he's being sarcastic. Canary Cry art portal. No, that's not what it's called. CanaryCry.art. Easy to use. Go click on it. CanaryCry.art. You can also find it on our link tree. But this is awesome. It's kind of an homage to Dr. Heiser here. You've got Dr. Heiser, very recognizable, but he's dressed up like a full-on 80s punk. He's got a green mohawk. He's got a leather jacket. He's got a safety pin piercing in his
on
cheek.
His face.
His T-shirt beneath the jacket says Divine Counsel. And we've got some like posters hanging up here. It says, "You're hardcore, Dr. Heiser. Thank you for your work, and I'll see you when I get there. Pizza Rat. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods."
Yes.
Psalm 82:1.
Yeah.
And of course, on Dr. Heiser's shoulder there, he's got Pizza Rat himself holding a copy of The Unseen Realm.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, and it's just very recognizable. I mean, that's uncanny. It's almost
very good.
Yeah. I do want to see Mike with a green mohawk. I mean,
have there been any updates
I
about?
don't think so. I haven't heard much.
Yeah, I haven't heard a super recent one.
Yeah. Which is
thank you very much, Pizza Rat.
Yep, thank you, Pizza Rat. Appreciate it. And yeah, continued prayers to the Heiser family over there.
Indeed. Somebody, you know what? Somebody sent us. We should post this. Okay, somebody sent us a link for a Heiser family support page. And it's not a GoFundMe or anything like that. It is something called, I'm trying to find it. Nuts. It's where you can purchase meals for the family when a family is having a hard time. It's a link. It's kind of like a GoFundMe type thing, but you can pay for like meals to be delivered, be sort of, Grubhubbed to the family, stuff like that, because now would be a perfect time to do that.
Yeah.
I had it pulled up in the, maybe I could find it in my history here. Hold on. I hate to pause the show like this, but this is worth it if we can find it.
Sure. You want me
Do
to
you see it anywhere, like in our email? I forget exactly where somebody sent it to us. People send us things from so many locations.
Yeah. I don't.
Okay. Well, if we find it, nuts. This is bugging me.
Okay.
Guns.
Yeah.
Just participate and help me
I
here.
don't want. You want me to actually look for it too?
Do that. Yes, I would love you to help me.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, so it's going to be a little harder for me to find something where I don't even know what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, keep going. I'll find it. We'll put it in the chat and hopefully put it in the show notes if we can find it in time.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. In the meantime, we got a couple microfictions to go through here.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
First one is from Rung Smash. Are you ready, Basil?
No, I'm not, because I'm trying to get a link so my friend can have food. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. It's from Rung Smash.
This one, no. This one we read last time. Oh, we are a mess today.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Are you sure?
Yes. The one, with Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers.
Okay. All right.
Was this all sent in a big giant email?
No, it was two separate. It was two separate emails, and I was going through them as because there was one where there was two while we were gone. Like the week, 2 weeks we were gone. There were two that were sent in, and I was just going in order. Last time was the first one. This one was the second one, but I could be wrong.
I think you grabbed the wrong one because we the one that's there now we read last episode.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay, because I did replace it.
When? Just now?
Yeah, like today. Yeah.
No, just now. The one I'm looking at this exact moment. We read last episode. Sorry, everybody. Okay. We are falling apart during this break here. I think I got it. Hold on. Go.
All right. Yeah.
Everything is moving incredibly slow here. Yeah. So I got it. It's the most recent one. I got it.
It is the most recent one?
Hit that track, baby.
Okay. You're right. Because there was one. That's my mistake. All right. Here we go.
Swiftly, they duck into an alley tagged with an innumerable string of X's and O's. They sprint to a safe house. Just inside the door, they are greeted by a warm welcome from the lady of the house. Then they begin negotiating for the entheogen and eggs.
Dame Gail made it. She runs the safe house, the Canary and safe house.
Yeah, and we didn't mention entheogens earlier, but it would have been apropos to talk about.
It's interesting how I did not use that word when I almost always do when talking about the pharmakia.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Rung Smash. We also have one from Stephen S. Or Stephen S.
The marketing exec meets with Dr. Diablo concerning his DNA-modified slave clones project. Doctor, the name Minions is already registered. That's too bad. How about Mini-Me's? That is too. Then they will have to be called Nanogoons.
Those nanogoons. You better watch out.
Nanogoons. Thank you very much, Stephen S.
Thank you, Stephen S. Yes, and that's related to the article from phys.org that we covered a few weeks ago. The 2.6 billion-year-old ancestors of the CRISPR gene editing tool are resurrected.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep. All right. There you go. Thank you very much to all of our talented producers contributing to the show. We apologize for the little hiccup there in the middle.
And if you're a creative person, no matter what you do, go ahead, head on over to canarycry.art. You can upload whatever kind of art you do, create something for the show, help pack this show full of content. Don't just consume the content, become the content. This is a great way to produce the show. Thank you very much.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Frankenstein rats. TheSun.com, scientists insert human mini brains into rat skulls and create mutant creatures with better eyesight.
Yay.
Yeah.
Super chill.
Yeah. The mini brains, also known as human brain organoids. We've talked about organoids a long time ago.
Yes, we have.
Were transplanted into rats with visual processing injuries. It's got a whole bunch of diagrams showing the parts of the brain that was replaced with this thing. The transplants were then said to solve the sight problems that the rats were having. This could have a great impact on human medicine as well. According to Live Science, the team is hoping to improve on their brain organoids so they can mimic a human brain. Human mini brains essentially acted as a patch over injuries in the rat's brain and repair damaged connections. The researchers behind the experiment hope a similar process could one day help humans with eyesight issues or sight issues. Dr. Han Chao Isaac Chen, the study's senior author, said, quote, "I see this as the first step in developing a new strategy for repairing the brain. The team's research can be found in full in the journal Cell Stem Cell." Sounds like an anime series. Cell Stem Cell. It includes graphic images demonstrating how the lump of a lab-grown human brain is inserted into the rat. The human organoids were grown from stem cells to be the perfect size for matching up the rat brain. They were transplanted into the rat's visual cortex that had already been injured. The study concluded, quote, "Brain organoids created from human pluripotent stem cells represent a promising approach for brain repair. They acquire many structural features of the brain and raise the possibility of patient-matched repair." So there you go, Basil. We got I believe the last time we reported on these brain organoids, they were putting it in little machines, like little robots that roamed around, and they had the ability to sort of see what's going on and stop, if there's a barrier or something like that, and move around. But now they're actually not just a robot, but a live animal, live rat. Which
that's pretty crazy. So they use these little brains to repair the mouse brain. That's weird. It's like a melding between a human brain organoid and a mouse brain,
like a synthetic human brain.
That is next level.
Yeah, mutant creatures, human mini brains.
Yeah.
It's all.
I love
it's all coming.
Well, along the same lines, somebody sent this one in here. By the way, I did find the Mike Heiser link. I stuck it into the chat there, and we'll try to put it as many places as we can. It's a meal train, mealtrain.com.
Meal train, yes.
This one is alligator catfish hybrids are being spawned in an Alabama lab. The days of Noah. This is one interesting thing. Again, if there's any new people here, the Bible talks about Noah needing to build the ark and the earth being flooded because everybody was very mean and evil and nobody had been nice in a long, long time. But recent scholarship in the past decade or so has sort of uncovered that this was much more akin to, seems like the antediluvian world. They had figured out how to create chimeras, started messing with the image of God, messing with...
Each after their own kind, but that kind being crossed over, mixed in some ways. All flesh had become corrupt. That's what it says in Genesis 6. So, they talk about, it's corrupt, like, they're mean. I don't know. Yeah. I think they were corrupt, messed up, like not God's design.
And in the way it's talked about how,
Noah
everyone had become corrupt. Not a single person wasn't.
Except Noah was perfect in his generations. Tamim, which is the same word used for a pure lamb that you would sacrifice.
Right. So it's the
without
actual
blemish.
Original languages and writings have it much more suggesting that there was some sort of physical tampering going on with the gene code. And if you watch the Noah movie recently, in the recent years, it's really weird because whoever was that a James Cameron?
I forget if it was
operation.
Whoever
it was, they
guy.
Actually were onto this. They had
the
chimeric animals running around during the time of Noah. Very interesting.
Darren Aronofsky.
Yes. Producer Jonah sent this one to us. So thank you very much, Producer Jonah. Alligator catfish hybrids are being spawned in an Alabama lab. Whee! In an effort to build a better catfish. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We need to build a better catfish, especially in the sort of age of the internet when catfishing and catfish has such a different connotation.
Yeah,
we
that is
build
true.
A better catfish.
We're altering the DNA of the catfish. Okay.
You've got
interesting.
The unattractive people wearing masks, catfishing people on Flippy Tinder. We need to build a better catfish.
Those catfish, yeah. Gene upgrade.
In an effort to build a better catfish, researchers at Auburn University have genetically engineered a hybrid catfish species using alligator DNA. Yay! That's just what we need. We need more alligators. The methodology might sound scary, but the byproducts are nearly identical to the farm-raised catfish sold in grocery stores throughout the country. Still, regulatory approval isn't a guarantee, and these reptilian mud kitties... Thank you, OutdoorLife.com. These reptilian mud kitties won't end up on the shelves anytime soon.
Wow, my version of the article does not say reptilian mud kitties.
You have the Outdoor Life one?
Oh no, I got the Alabama.com. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah. OutdoorLife.com, baby, your place for up-to-date DNA tampering, chimeric, world-ending laboratory abominations.
Yeah,
it goes into creating a more resilient catfish, and it starts out with this: Americans eat a lot of catfish. Do we? Look, I understand that this is a regional thing, and other parts of the country eat a lot of catfish. I don't know if you can say all Americans eat a lot of catfish. It goes on, and it's impossible to put a number on how many chuckleheads we catch and cook on an annual basis. This sounds like a catfish, which already sounds like a chimera between a cat and a fish. Reptilian mud kitties, chuckleheads, a lot of different names for this resilient little guy. Regardless, it isn't enough to satisfy the overall demand. Really, we're out eating all the catfish. In 2021 alone, we imported around 256 million pounds of it from other countries. Meanwhile, we commercially produce another 307 million pounds here at home. Who is eating all of this catfish?
I think South. They're in Alabama, right?
No kidding, the South, but like that is...
It says right here, primarily Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas.
Yeah, but that's not a who, delicacy. That's a where. I'm not saying where are they eating these catfish. I'm saying who.
Who? The people. The people in Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas.
And so, come on. We're doing a podcast, man. Remember that. Where the deep-fried delicacy's true soulmate, the hush puppy, was born. The only problem with raising catfish in a farm ponds is that these water bodies turn into breeding grounds for disease. Farmers lose a huge number of fish every year to various infections. That's why researchers at Auburn University are trying to create a more resilient catfish.
They got to mRNA their catfish.
With some genetic engineering and just a pinch of alligator DNA. Okay. A team of scientists have successfully spawned a new hybrid catfish species they believe can be better resist infection. Look, has anybody at all in their Alabama lab watched Jurassic Park? Because this is how it starts. You start by putting just a little bit of alligator DNA.
A little bit of alligator.
In the catfish.
A pinch.
Just a pinch of alligator DNA. And then a year later, we're all getting attacked from the sewer. And catfish, they're resilient little guys already. I mean, I think really the only thing that can rival the resiliency of a catfish is an alligator. So what they've done is they've created an unstoppable reptilian hybrid to meet the insatiable demand, the bloodlust that the American South has for these little what do they call them, muddy buddies, reptilian mud kitties. To achieve this, the research team led by Rex Dunham of Baofeng Su is using CRISPR technology.
CRISPR. Cas9.
Which allows scientists to edit and alter the genes of plants and animals. They were already looking for a genetic component to increase the hardiness of freshwater fish. That search led them to a unique protein in alligators called super killing monster protein, cathelicidin, it says. In an interview with the Ireland-based fish site.
Is that the name or is that, thefishsite.com?
The Ireland-based fish site Dunham explained that his antimicrobial protein is thought to protect alligators from developing infections in their wounds. The team figured if they could insert this gene into catfish, they'd end up with a more resilient fish. Why don't we just insert this into human DNA? Why not just add it into the mixture for super soldiers, or just throw it in a vaccine and mandate everybody to get it? If the alligator protein is so good at preventing infections, why are we even bothering with all these vaccines and things? Just get that reptilian blood in the population so we can settle this once and for all.
That it?
Just leaving room for you to make a comment.
Yeah, I was just kind of reading through here. There's not much else other than some of the ethical concerns being brought up here.
Well, here's the ethical concerns, Gons. One fear that came up during the experiment, then anybody let me know if this sounds familiar to you, was the risk of genetically modified superfish escaping from the farms and disrupting neighboring ecosystems. To prevent this, they used the CRISPR gene editing tool to remove a catfish gene associated with reproduction. This is literally the storyline of Jurassic Park. It goes on. They replaced it with the alligator gene. With these genes swapped, the hybrid catfish are unable to reproduce. Oh, whoopsie daisies, except they accidentally also put in a gene from a frog that lets it change gender. I mean, it is 2023. Who says a catfish can't change gender? And booyah, we've got superfish, super predator fish.
Hybrid gay catfish that we're making?
Follow up. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, the gay frogs could get in there too. Follow-up experiments proved that the survival rates of these hybrid fish, oh good, yes, please, tell me the survival rates. Quote, between 2 and 5-fold higher. You are unkillable.
You cannot kill these hybrid fish.
Unkillable reptilian mud kitties.
But they don't reproduce.
While they haven't been peer-reviewed or regulated by any government whatsoever, or even adhered to the laws of nature and God, their findings have since been published in bioRxiv. Oh, good for them. Because of the ethical concerns surrounding CRISPR technology and genetic modification, regulatory approval for these hybrid catfish isn't a certainty. The experiment has already raised doubts among the larger scientific community as well. Some have argued that even if these hybrids are more resilient, most fish farmers don't have a use for lab-spawned sterile fish. It's a good point. It's hard to farm fish when they're all sterile. Another good reason for them to find a way. Life finds a way, Guns. And even if those, even though those hybrid species, it's still just a catfish. There's also the marketing problem of selling hybridized alligator catfish to consumers. Yes, there is. Somebody's got.
There's a PR problem. That's where they need to hire us. We can package this thing to make it really desirable. You just got to make them. You gotta lean into the national exceptionalism. These are American made catfish.
American gator fish.
With the power of an alligator. You know, it's
the strength of a gator with the
juicy taste of your favorite.
With the gentle caress of a catfish. Dunham and Sue think people could eventually come around to the idea. Eventually, Dunham explained that it's unlikely anybody would notice a difference in the meat itself. Quote, I would eat it in a heartbeat, he said, as 1,000 tiny catfish with razor blade sharp teeth devoured him from the bottom up. As he continued the interview, he could be heard screaming, oh God, what have I done? Why, what hubris hath man brought upon this earth? If only I had listened to my mother and my favorite podcasters on Canary Cry News Talk.
Why is there always I don't know if Baofeng Su. Yeah, it sounds Chinese. Why is there always a Chinese scientist involved in these?
Because he was put there on purpose.
He was put there as part of the military.
It's phase 1 of the invasion. No, it's phase 2. Phase 1 is distract all the stupid Americans. Just with float a balloon over the country. Phase 2, unleash the killer reptilian catfish on society. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're done. We're done. We're all done. We're done because we're going to get devoured by the reptilian mud kitties. I'll never forget that phrase for the rest of my life. And I want to thank all of the producers that made it possible, especially our executive producer, Pocojo. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And, of course, the most important people in the world, those who joined the Canary Cry T-shirt Council, Christian N., Catherine R., Dame Gail, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, Dwight B., Rab, the Western Russian, and Kyle Killsport, I believe. Yes, that's true, Killsport. Thank you all for joining the team and receiving your very fashionable T-shirts. You should do so too, people. Go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com or go to canarycry.party. You'll see the link there. And sign up. You're supporting the show. You're supporting Sir Isaac. You're keeping the show going, keeping Isaac going, this is a nice big family, and you're joining an illustrative secret society of T-shirt wearers that will soon take their place as the rightful rulers of all humanity. canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. But we also have lots of other producers that make this show happen, and we're going to thank them now, starting with
Clippies.
Clippy. Clippy on those videos.
Thanks. That's right. Emsworth, Faye Liverin, thank you so much for the clipping. Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube. Go subscribe, folks. Clips from the show. I think they get off suspension tomorrow.
Hey.
Ooh, let the clips flow, baby. But also, they've been doing a great job. Faye, I believe, has led the charge on creating shorter clips, little 60-second clips that we've been sharing on our social media. So if you follow us on any social media, please, retweet those, like those, share those little clippies. It's going to help us spread the word in a more traditional way. We've always been so awful at social media. It is not our forte whatsoever. And it's really holding us back. So Gons and I are not good enough to do it on our own. So thank God for the clippies. And it means it's also going to take some help from the community. Share those videos as you see them come out. Thank you. Thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work.
Timestamp. They time the stamps. They stamp the times of the whole show. It's very important for so much of our back end. And I want to thank Jade Bouncerson for doing timestamps for episode 586. I know we had a handful of other timestampers. Apparently, they have not been activated yet. So if anybody's interested in helping with timestamps, that is an incredibly important role that we need some more people to play.
Yeah, we got to catch up on some of that.
What's that?
We had to catch up on some of that. We did get some messages from people.
Yeah. I think I do remember seeing one. I'll get back to you. Thank you to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media, follow us.
Dame Miss G, the OV in the Deep Rivers, making sure the art gets up on the social. Thank you very much, Dame Miss G. Go to canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetups.
That's right. Go check it out. It's a little lonely over there, canarycrymeetups.com. But once the year gets rolling and people get their legs under them, there's going to be meetups. There's going to be meetups all over the place. There's a new meetup.
Yeah.
Yes, there's an update to the meetup in Germany. The new update is the 18th of February at Skate Park Passau in Nuremberg Street 126. This European addresses are crazy. But I already sent this to Dove to get a flyer made. So the flyer will be made, and we will get it on the website. Nice. EU, Canarians, this is your chance. If you're able to get over to Germany, who knows when the next time that will be. But there will be a meetup there in Germany. Thank you, Mr. Jag, for doing that. And other people around the world, including the United States, if you want to put on a meetup, please do. Just pick a time and a place. Let us know about it. And we will tell the world. It's a great way to get in touch with other Canarians in your area. It's important to make friends with people who listen to the same podcast as you for no other reason than just to know you're not crazy, or to find somebody who's crazier than you, perhaps, can be sort of psychologically beneficial. So put on a meetup, please. I'll give you a price.
This is fun! See you at the meetup.
Ratings. Yippee, ratings and reviews. Go leave ratings and reviews specifically on Apple Podcasts. It's very helpful to us, but you can do it also just wherever you want. But Apple Podcasts would be wonderful. I did get an answer back from that strange Swedish review from Onesimos, who left the funny Swedish review. Remember this? You remember this from Friday?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It was confusing. I thought perhaps it was some Swedish humor or something, but I did get a response from a dame of ours, actually. This is from Dame Sarah. Said, I made the strange review on Apple Podcasts as Onismos. It was not some strange example of Swedish humor. It was written by AI. I thought it would be obvious, as it was ridiculous, and I signed it Chatty. Made up name for the chatbot version of Flippy. I forgot that I told people to make reviews with AI. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah. But to give you some example of Swedish humor, you ready for a Swedish joke?
Let's do it.
How do you get a Norwegian to laugh at Easter?
How?
You tell them a funny joke on Christmas. Oh no, Swedish and Norwegian rivalry happening here on the show. Sorry, Christian N. Maybe Christian N needs to send us a joke about Swedes. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah, for that.
Yes, thank you very much.
But yeah, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. Just if you don't know what to write, just ask Chat GPT to make a review and put it on there. It'll be hilarious, and I will be confused, but I will appreciate it. And it's very good for the show when you do that, and for our hearts. Let's try to get 5 by the end of the week. Let's try to get 5 by Friday. That may sound achievable, but we have failed that achievement so many times, folks. So many of you are listening right now on Apple Podcasts. Just take 60 seconds. Go leave a rating and review. Thank you. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you, Clank, for the help. Other than that, folks, share the show. Just share the show with your friends, your family, your new AI friend, your old AI girlfriend. Thank you for the understanding about the replica situation. But if you're looking for an AI girlfriend, there is one. It's only about $5 a month. I wouldn't recommend it, but you know what? It's better than, well, I don't know what it is actually better than. It might not be better than nothing. But share the show in all sorts of fun ways. You know, you can make one up. You could put it on a mask if you're unattractive and you want to wear a mask around, and people are like, why are you wearing that mask? Well, it's proven in a study that if an unattractive person wears a mask that has a link to our podcast on it, they are instantly considered more attractive by their peers. And this is your time. This is your time, unattractive people. Look, we're all beautiful. We're all beautiful in our own special way. And I think that it's wrong. I think that it's wrong that people are being encouraged to wear masks to hide up their beautiful faces that God gave them. But let's be honest. You know what else is beautiful? A link to our podcast. And, some people wear makeup. Others hide their faces with links to their favorite podcast. So go do that. Or else. And other than that, we like to call it rattling cages. If you need any more instructions, here's what you do. Walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it, baby.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Thank you very much, everybody. Gons, do you have any last words?
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, the 7th, you can say a happy 87 years for FDR's Executive Order 7285, proclaiming the official flag of the U.S. Vice President.
There's a flag of the Vice President.
Yeah, officially 87 years ago tomorrow, the 7th, or today if you're listening.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You don't see that one flying very often.
Yeah, I don't even know what that looks like.
Huh.
Look it up right now, Vice.
Good job, FDR.
President. Vice President. It better look cool. Maybe
it probably doesn't.
Yeah, it probably doesn't.
Anyways.
Well,
anything?
Yeah,
Anything?
It's here. It's just
that shows how good it is.
Yeah,
it's here.
It's the eagle. It's E pluribus unum, the eagle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty generic.
That's great.
Yeah, it looks like the original design for the quarter or something.
Smash bang, old chap. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. Until then, think outside the cage.
Goodbye.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward on board. The passengers experienced 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything.
We're all gonna die.
Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. Just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf.
save the dryer land.
Armageddon's on the way. This is the way. This is not about freedom or personal choice. This is the way.
Goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, "Oh, that was fun." Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
I love the Great Reset.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support